Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto x Raven Jump City Teen Titans Harem. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by HaretaSora, link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Sweat started to condense on the forehead of a black-haired teen while his brows furrowed and his blue eyes narrowed as he tried to do sit-ups under what looked to be a large glass dome. The teen was no older than 17 with spiky black hair that pushed out in every direction, still somehow defying gravity despite him being pushed down by a force 20 times heavier than Earth's, with two spiky bangs framing his face. His skin was tan, and 3 whisker marks were present on each of his cheeks, and his teeth slightly more animalistic with his canines as he grit his teeth and continued to try. He wore a pair of black cargo pants, a sleeveless orange vest with black armbands on his forearms secured by 3 red bands, and a pair of black sandals finishing off his outfit. His full name was Naruto Kent, and currently he was training to become stronger as the life of a hero. He needed to be ready for whatever. Hence why he asked for this chamber to be built. "Friend Naruto, are you okay? Is 20 times the gravity of Earth hurting you?" A soft voice asked him as he looked up to see a girl frowning down at him as she hovered above the glass dome. The girl was rather tall, taller than him, with bright orange skin with long straight fiery red hair that went down to her waist and bangs that went a bit over her forehead, and her eyebrows were rather unique small dot. Her eyes were a dark green with the normal whites of her eyes a light green instead. Her outfit showed off the alien girl's beauty as it consisted of a silver neck collar thing of sorts, 2 silver armbands, a sleeveless purple crop top that showed off her midriff as well as her G-cup chest, a purple miniskirt, and a pair of purple thigh-high boots. Her name was Starfire and she was a Tamaranian, an alien race that had found her way to Earth after she escaped the ship she was captive on. Since then she had been one of his closest friends. I'm fine, Starfire. I mastered 10 times gravity last week and need to push it up a bit more," Naruto said as he narrowed his eyes in focus and continued to push himself. "Do you not wish for it to be lessened?" "Oh. You can use the Saiyan Zenkai you told me of to help, can you not?" she asked before he chuckled a bit at her wanting to help. Well, he did look human, other than the monkey tail that was wrapped around his waist. He was actually a member of a nearly extinct race of aliens called Saiyans. He had only been able to survive after his parents sent him off from their planet in a pod days before its destruction. His pod had kept him safe and mainly asleep before it ended up crashing in a remote town in Kansas, which had video logs and a lot of knowledge on his race and powers, which made it very easy for the family who found him to look after him once they asked for help translating it all from a friend of their first kid. Though being the second alien child they raised, they were naturals at it. Being a Saiyan gave him a handful of powers such as flight, energy attacks, and some other things. Though most of his powers were kept in reserve until the moment needed them. "I don't think I need to use it. I'll be able to handle it until the timer runs out," Naruto grunted out as he wasn't fond of using his Zenkai when not needed, and something like this wasn't enough to strengthen him considerably. Zenkai was one of his Saiyan traits he liked to save for occasions he needed it, or occasions that would help ensure he got much stronger, given that he got stronger the more damage he took with it. "You're nearly done, friend Naruto, do persevere," Starfire cheered on with a smile as Naruto continued to push forward until he finished, falling back before the pressure eased off him and the glass dome opened up. "You did so good, Naruto. Shall we go celebrate with the eating of food?" Starfire asked as she floated into the dome before Naruto nodded with smile and walked with her, picking up a towel to dry off while they made their way towards the living room. "Sure, but how about you let me cook this time," Naruto said as through the halls of the Titans Tower, which was essentially a giant tea that he and the other Titans lived in. The Titans were a hero group that he had joined shortly after getting to Jump City. It wasn't intended as he originally came to Jump City to try and make a name for himself away from the shadow of his mentor Superman. He had ended up being the Man of Steel's apprentice since he didn't like the name sidekick after finding out he was Clark Kent, his brother in a way. Since he was around 12 to about now at 17, he had worked alongside Superman and fought crime, but after a while he wanted to be his own hero, something Superman understood. It didn't take long for him to end up in Jump City and join the Titans when push came to shove after the event that caused the Titans to form, but after joining he had so far been enjoying it. Though as they entered the living room to the sight of 3 of their teammates arguing with one another, he remembered how they didn't get along all the time, which was expected when you put 6 teenagers together in one place. "What is going on here?" Naruto asked Raven as Beast Boy and Cyborg were the 2 mainly arguing. Raven was an odd girl. She mainly kept to herself and when she did come out she read her books. She was a nice girl though when if you gave her space and talked to her when she was up for it. She was a bit shorter than him with short violet hair that was normally hidden as she liked to keep the hood to her cloak up most of the time. Her skin was a unique gray color with a small red diamond-shaped jewel on her forehead, while her eyes were a darker violet than her hair. Her outfit, like Starfire's, showed off her figure a bit as it was a long-sleeved dark indigo leotard that showed off her toned legs and high C-cup chest, with blue cuffs around her wrists. She wore ankle-high boots, her dark blue hooded cloak, and a belt of gold circles with red jewels. Raven merely looked at him with mild annoyance, something he felt was more something she felt in general, compared to it being directed at him. They are arguing over losing a stupid remote and are tearing the place apart while yelling at each other. It was disrupting my reading, Raven said as Naruto sighed at the two titans still fighting. I'll try and calm them down or something, best not for you to get in the middle of it, as they will just start yelling at you and get you upset as well, Naruto said, since as far as he knew Raven's powers hinged on the control of her emotions, rather than the release of them like his and Starfire's did. Only reason he knew this was because he had meditated with Raven a few times, mainly on full moons when he couldn't leave the tower, and they always talked a bit after it. Boy. What is with all the yelling? Naruto asked as Raven walked over to Starfire and the two other titans turned towards him and immediately started yelling at him about how Beast Boy lost the remote and he claimed he didn't and then how Raven suggested they change it by hand. This is ridiculous, Cyborg. You are a technological marvel and you can't like do a universal remote function or, I don't know, put a tracker on the remote. Naruto asked as he looked over the large half-robot half-human teen. Cyborg was literally what he was called, a cyborg. Half-human and half-robot. That was the result of what Naruto figured to be an accident, but he never asked. His body was mainly robotics with a majority of his face, and a portion of his biceps and thighs were still human though. And Beast Boy, can you seriously not sniff out the remote or is all the trash you two have littered around here too much for you? Naruto asked as he was a bit annoyed at the mess, probably since living in a small town and then a bustling city like Metropolis, he had been raised to at least keep things relatively clean. Beast Boy on the other hand seemed to live up to his name, since his room was a constant mess. He remembered how at first the green-skinned pointy-eared titan had been rather kept like a cadet, but he figured his time away from his old life, whatever it was, wore off and he relaxed more so here. Though, as the two started yelling at him, he figured they were angrier now that he pointed things out. Titans? What is going on here? A new male voice asked as Naruto turned to see their leader walk towards them. You know Robin, the usual of people butting heads and fighting over stupid stuff, Naruto said as personally he knew Robin the longest since their mentors were technically friends, despite how Batman wasn't too fond of his mentor's cheerfulness at times. Plus he had occasionally helped in Gotham alongside Robin and Batgirl when needed and they helped in Metropolis as well. Robin was rather apt to the role of leader which was good as personally Naruto knew he wasn't suited for it, sharing second in command, sure but not leader. Naruto slowly backed out of it, moving back towards Raven as Robin took charge and trying to help as he was rather close to blasting the room to clear everything to find the stupid remote. Do not worry friend Naruto. I am preparing the food of junk to enjoy, so we may mend ways, Starfire said happily as he looked over to see her peeking into the mini fridge. Naruto though quickly pulled Raven down with him, pulling up her hood just before Starfire screamed and launched an energy blast into the fridge, sending the blue gunk that was growing in it everywhere through the living room. I swear whoever let that grow in there is going to get hit. Naruto yelled as Cyborg and Beast Boy deflated a bit from guilt as Raven cleared her throat. Thank you for shielding me, but you can let go now, Raven said as Naruto was still somewhat holding her clothes from shielding her from being covered. Oh, sorry about that Naruto said as he let her go before she nodded, not seemingly annoyed at him for it which was good considering she glared heavily every time Beast Boy got too close to her. Maybe we should just go out for pizza after you two clean this mess up and we get cleaned up, Robin said before looking towards Beast Boy and Cyborg, who grumbled but nodded. Friend Naruto. May you help me getting unstuck? Starfire asked as he looked over the counter to see Starfire stuck to the ground in the blue goo she had caused from blasting the mold. Sure thing there Star Naruto said with a chuckle as he hopped over the counter and started to pull off chunks of the goo good enough to get her off the ground. Cleaning up thankfully didn't take them too long and after they all made their way to the pizza place they frequented. Though their arguments somewhat continued as instead it was about what to get on their pizza. Cyborg once again bagged on Beast Boy for not eating meat since Beast Boy was a vegetarian which Naruto could understand. If he was able to turn into animals he wouldn't eat meat either. I suggest a large pizza with pickles, bananas, and mint frosting, Starfire said innocently, as with her Tamaranian stomach, she could eat almost anything, so her tastes weren't quite normaled out to earth yet. Star, I'm sorry to burst your bubble dear, but not everything on the menu is a pizza topping, Naruto whispered to her as the others stared at her confused before Starfire blushed a bit from embarrassment. It's okay, how about we get half and half? Half meat and then half normal. Naruto said as he rubbed Starfire's back to ease her embarrassment a bit. Fine, but the meat half is going to have all types of meat on it, Cyborg said with a smirk as Beast Boy shrugged, glad at least half was going to be okay for him to eat. Though, like things tended to go with them, just before they were about to place their order, the sound of a bus honking its horn and a baby crying brought their attention to what seemed like an out-of-control bus heading straight down the slanted street towards a baby carriage. Titans, go. Robin yelled as he and Starfire took off. I got the baby carriage, you help Cyborg and Raven stop the bus. Naruto yelled as Starfire nodded and flew over to help Cyborg and brace for the bus. He might not fly as fast as Starfire, but he was easily fast enough to get the carriage out of the way before Cyborg and Starfire even were met with the bus, which was stopped with some extra help from Raven. Don't buses usually have drivers? Cyborg asked as he opened the door to find the bus fully empty. And baby carriages normally have babies, Naruto said as he held up a weird green teddy bear. Are you pit sniffers normally this stupid? The bear asked as its eyes started to glow, but before it could do anything Naruto tossed it up and blasted it with a Kai blast. He quickly turned around just as the sound of the bus crashing rang out for him to see the bus being slammed down where Starfire, Cyborg, and Raven were supposed to be standing. Great, super villains. Thought it'd be longer than this before we'd meet any of them, Naruto said with a groan as he wrapped his tail back around his waist and narrowed his eyes as he saw a massive man with shoulder-length orange hair step out from the dust dusting off his hands. Shouldn't someone like you be in a caveman exhibit? Naruto jeered as he saw a girl with pink hair curved up into a horseshoe shape and a rather small boy in a green odyssey of sorts appear at his sides. Seems you were too slow on the blast there Gizmo, the girl said as Naruto smirked. Yeah, working alongside Superman tends to get your reflexes sharp, especially since a lot of villains try and be fast to hurt him, Naruto said as the smaller kid smirked. Oh yeah? And what are you going to do, you kludgeheads? All I see is one monkey boy, a boy wonder, and a green elf, Gizmo said as Naruto smirked as the bus was torn in half behind them by Cyborg's cannon arm, showing he and the others were safe from the bus crashing down on them. Think again, brat, Naruto growled out as he started firing Kai at the girl and Gizmo. Who are these guys anyway? And what's a kludgehead? Beast Boy asked as Gizmo smirked as he took to the air with a winged jetpack. We are the Hive, Gizmo said before the larger one cracked his knuckles. Your worst nightmare, he added before the girl smirked while backflipping to dodge his blasts. And this is attack pattern alpha, she said, as before Raven paired off with her and Cyborg with the larger man. Attack pattern, whatever, those puny blasts won't do shit, Naruto growled out as his Kai blasts were easily deflecting the blasts from Gizmo's blasters. They really leave you open, he added as he flew forward through an opening in the blasts down the middle. Shotgun blast. Naruto yelled as he put his hands over one another, palms both facing forward towards Gizmo, as the energy quickly charged and fired as a widespread short-range blast that sent Gizmo crashing as his blasters were broken. Eyes, keep an eye out for the small one, he's not out yet and he's quick to scamper off, Naruto said before he regretted not going full power to blast the shorty out of the sky as Cyborg was sent flying with a rocket on his back. Starfire, go after Cyborg. Robin yelled as Starfire nodded and took off, leaving the larger man to him. So what is your name? Is it something prehistoric? Naruto asked as he cracked his knuckles, knowing if this guy could lift a bus he was bound to hit hard. Name's Mammoth and you're about to be roadkill, Mammoth yelled as he charged towards him. Nice to know it's as cavemanish as I, though, Naruto muttered to himself as he flew towards Mammoth, launching stronger Kai blasts at him, only to find out he had thicker skin than he thought. Gonna have to hit harder than that. Mammoth yelled as Naruto quickly ducked under a punch and kicked up, hitting Mammoth hard on the chin, hard enough to make him spit out a tooth. How's that? Hard enough for you, Naruto asked before a wave of pink energy passed underneath him and the ground underneath him gave in, allowing Mammoth to grab his ankle before he could jump back. No, but this will be. Mammoth roared as he pulled Naruto up and threw a strong punch into his chest, sending Naruto flying back and through the building on the side of the road and a few more after that. Naruto grunted in pain as he was embedded into the final wall. Ugh, damn pink-haired girl. Must have been her, Naruto thought with a groan as he tried to pull himself out of the wall, only for the building to start to rumble. Ah crap, he muttered as the building collapsed and he blacked out. Few hours later. He didn't know how long it was before he woke back up exactly, but he couldn't quite tell the time with all the rubble on top of him. Great, just great. Got blindsided by a girl who I had no idea what she could do, and now I'm stuck under a collapsed building, he thought to himself as he heard and felt rubble above him being dug through, and through it, he could also hear what he thought to be 3 voices. He seems to have woken up, let's hurry and get him out of here, already a familiar voice said as the rubble above him was picked up and thrown away by a welcome familiar face, while he seemingly found himself in the sewer. Most likely due to the building fully collapsing down to this level. The first familiar face was HaretaSora, although she was better known as Supergirl. She was a tiny. She also wore a rather short blue pencil skirt, finishing her outfit off with a pair of red shoes and white gloves. During his time working with Superman, his much older brother, he had met their adopted cousin, but she was more of a close friend due to how he mainly hung out with her during the day since Clark, Superman's alias, was busy with his job. "Kara, am I happy to see you," Naruto said as she smiled and pulled him up and into a hug. "Same here. I came as soon as Robin called. Honestly, I was going to come in a day or so after I packed my things, but I'm just glad you're safe," she said as he smiled and rubbed her back before smirking at the familiar redhead who smiled at him with her almost trademark dark red almost black lipstick-covered lips. "I'm glad you're safe too, but best to let the Kryptonian get the first hug," she said as Naruto nodded before once Kara finished he welcomed his other friend in a hug. "That's smart, Barbara, as Kara would have pulled you off to get her hug," Naruto teased as Barbara gave him one last squeeze before pulling away. Barbara, like Robin, was a sidekick of Batman's, but unlike Robin and Batman she was more upbeat. He had first met her really when Kara pulled him along to Gotham for a sidekick day off, which like anything they did ended in them fighting villains. Barbara was about the same height as him with mid-length red hair and blue eyes, as she wore a skin-tight black outfit that showed off her figure and low D-cup chest that had a black bat-eared hood of sorts with yellow boots and gloves, finishing it off with a blue and yellow cape. "You can thank Superman and Batman, Superman for making you wear the tracker and that keychain on your belt," Robin said, pointing to the metal S styled in Superman's symbol that was clipped onto his belt, "and Batman for giving me the software long before, since, with our communicator broken from our crashes, we wouldn't have been able to find you as fast," he finished as Naruto nodded. "I would have eventually been able to find him, but this made it much faster, and if you are right about those Hive or whatever they were called going after the tower and your team, the sooner we got him the better," Supergirl said as Barbara patted him on the back. "You up for round 2? Barbara asked as Naruto clenched his fists with a smile before a wide aura burst to life around him. "Oh hell yes. Supergirl, you carry Robin, I'll get Batgirl," Naruto said as the other flyer nodded and they both quickly took off towards the tower. His team wasn't hard to find as they did seem a bit late as they were on the beach. "I get knocked out for a few hours and fall down under a pile of rubble and you guys get us evicted. Guess we'll have to get our house back and kick their asses," Naruto said as he lowered Batgirl down, getting his team's attention. "Good thing we brought back up," Robin said as Batgirl and Supergirl looked over their team. Interesting teammates you have, I'd love to meet you all, but I guess we have a giant T-building to take back," Supergirl said a bit confused at the hideout before Naruto patted her on the shoulder. "We'll explain later," Naruto said before he wasn't able to fully brace himself as Starfire leapt at him for a hug. "Naruto, you're alright. We were very worried when we could not find you," Starfire said as Naruto hugged her back. "I'm sorry, guess that pink-haired girl caught me off guard," Naruto said as Raven walked up. "Her name is Jinx and she is a sorceress," she said, making Supergirl frown a bit since magic wasn't too good for her. "I am though glad you're back as well," she added softly enough for him to hear, which made him smile at her before she looked away quickly. "Relax, we won't be evicted for long. I think Naruto and I have a plan," Robin said as Naruto nodded while Robin went over the plan and they all quickly got into position once the sun had set and the hive got comfy. Naruto smiled as he and Supergirl waited at their place at the top of the tower while the others worked on flushing them up here, and not before long his smirk grew as Gizmo was dragged up by being pulled by Cyborg's arm, Jinx being teleported by Raven, and Mammoth blasted up by Starfire. "Hope we didn't interrupt your little victory celebration," Robin said with a smirk as he clipped his belt back on as it fell from Jinx's hands. "But we aren't done with you all just yet," Naruto said as he cracked his neck and flared his aura to life again. "No way, when did a Kryptonian get here?" Mammoth said a bit worried as Kara smirked at them. "Just now, as you made 2 mistakes and oddly enough they were both hurting him, although for different reasons," Kara said as she pointed to Naruto. "First reason was it got them to come here much faster," he said pointing to Barbara and Kara, "and the second was since I'm a Saiyan and if I survive a battle I get stronger. That and you really pissed me off," he added as his aura turned golden and started to flare even larger around him. "And trust me when I say when I get pissed I hold back even less. We have a score to settle, Mammoth, and I aim to win," Naruto said as lightning started to arc off of him before a shockwave let out and the Hive trio had to cover their eyes as a light flashed. Once they were able to look again they were a bit confused as Naruto's black hair had turned golden blonde and was sticking up even more than usual. "So what? You became blonde, that doesn't scare me," Mammoth said as Naruto smirked. "Don't let them scare you. Attack pattern alpha." Jinx yelled before Naruto immediately flew after Mammoth, his speed immediately surprising them as he was there in what looked like an instant. "You should be afraid, Mammoth, cause I'm a Super Saiyan now," Naruto said as he threw a powerful punch at Mammoth's chest, sending the giant flying like a ragdoll into the metal beams behind him. "Here's a crash course in Saiyans, Mammoth," Naruto started as he walked towards the giant, ignoring the others as they had them handled. "We have various levels of power we can awaken. If I have black hair that is my base with gold being heightened. Plus added the power boost I got from surviving a building falling on me, I am now much more powerful than you in base form, so consider this overkill, Naruto said as Mammoth got up and glared at him. I was most likely still stronger than you before in terms of power before, but I was caught off guard by Jinx. This time it won't happen though. You and your obnoxious little team are getting off my home, and I swear if you touched my stuff, I'm going to break you even more, Naruto growled out, unfazed as Mammoth roared and charged towards him. Naruto didn't even budge as he held up his hand to block one of Mammoth's punches before he grabbed the giant's fist and held his free hand towards his chest. Consider this payback, Naruto said as he made his hand in the shape of a gun with one finger pointed towards him. I can, and he said as the tip of his finger started to glow before a blast fired from it, hitting Mammoth point blank and continued to fire until Mammoth crashed into his two other teammates who had been beaten nearly as fast as him. Grab it, I'm calling Slade, Gizmo groaned out from under Mammoth before Robin pulled him out and held him by the collar of his shirt. Who is Slade? Rabin asked with a glare as Gizmo merely gave him a shit-eating smirk. Wouldn't you like to know, barf brain, Gizmo taunted as Naruto decided he had enough of Gizmo's obnoxious attitude. How about this then, Naruto said as he took Gizmo from Robin, handing the boy wonder the remote in the small boy's hand. You tell us once you wake up from your concussion. He yelled, his anger reaching its limit as he threw the boy head first into the wall, which quickly knocked him out and made the others laugh a bit. Now let's get them to the cops so we can get this gaudy metal work off our tower and de-hive our place from whatever they did, Cyborg said as Kara smiled and patted Naruto and Starfire on their backs. I think with these two we can get it done in no time, Kara said as Naruto lowered down from Super Saiyan and nodded. Truthfully, getting rid of the work they did didn't take that much time since with a Kryptonian, a Saiyan, and a Tamaranian they were better than any real demolition crew. So Clark and Bruce really let you guys go? Naruto asked as he walked with Barbara and Kara to their rooms. Clark didn't mind as he was worried about you, and since I am my own person, he didn't have any say, Kara said, as Clark was more like a worried brother than anything to them, so having them near each other eased his worries. Bruce though didn't care as much as I thought he would, since he's already on Robin number 3 Tim Drake, although he goes by Red Robin. With that going on and the whole Jason incident a few years ago, he wasn't too keen on me staying around. He did let me keep everything in terms of suit and contact with him if needed, Barbara said with a shrug. Plus with me officially off in online college I was able to move out. Hell, my dad was all for it to get me out of Gotham, she said with a chuckle before they stopped as Naruto stopped. Well, it's good to hear as I know you two wanted to come with me when I said I'd be leaving on my own, though it turned into a team. Not that I'm complaining, Naruto said before he pointed to the two rooms in front of him. And that brings me to your rooms. Choose either or they are basically the same, only difference is one is closer to mine, while the others is closer to Starfire's, Naruto said, looking over toward Starfire's room. The girls though were fast as they quickly played a match of rock paper scissors to see who would get which room, which resulted in Batgirl getting the one closer to his, much to her joy and Kara's disappointment. I guess I'll be your neighbor, Naru, Barbara said with a smile as she draped her arm over his shoulder. We can pick up your stuff tomorrow if you want so you can personalize your rooms and whatnot, since right now they basically only have a bed, Naruto said, as each room had at least that just in case they did get new members like this. Sounds great, we can make a day of it, but first let's meet this team of yours, Kara said as she excitedly pushed them along toward the living room. She's right, I want to meet the others too, so let's hurry, Barbara said with a smile, as now the two of them were pulling him along, an arm of his in each of their hands. Fine, might as well since we will all be a team from now on, he said, as he was rather excited to have two more friends on the team, as it would only make things more interesting. Chapter end. Chapter 2. Things last night were relaxing after they got settled back into their tower, and Barbara and Kara got to know the others. Sadly though, Gizmo and the others had stayed silent about Slade, leaving it up to them to find out more about later on. Naruto took in a slow breath as he gradually woke up fully while he sat on the roof of the tower near the edge with a smile. No matter how long he's lived in the city like Metropolis or Jump City, he still couldn't kick the habit of waking up before the sun rose due to being raised on a farm in Kansas. Though as the sun rose up from behind the mountains, illuminating the city, he figured it wasn't too bad of a habit to have. Ah, I figured we'd find you here, Raven said behind him as he looked over his shoulder to see both her and Starfire walking out of the elevator, a worried look present on Starfire's face which alone wasn't normal. Yeah, sorry, I like to watch the sun rise as I meditate or really just in general. What's up you two and why does Star look so unlike Star? Naruto asked as it was odd to see the usually smiling girl with a frown on her face. We could not get much sleep, but not because there were biting bugs in the bed, Starfire said before Raven frowned a bit. We were both a bit worried about you after last night. That gold-haired form was a surprise, and you got angry to a level we've never seen from you, so we were worried. What was that form anyways? Raven asked as Naruto rubbed the back of his head and frowned a bit while in thought. I'm sorry, my Super Saiyan form does awaken my rage inside me, but normally I'm good at keeping calm. I guess at the time I was just still upset about getting caught off guard and having a building collapse on me. I promise though I'm not usually that angry in that form if I have a calm mind when going into it, Naruto said as Starfire's frown lessened. I have never seen a Saiyan, the few times they had come to Tamarin, use a power like that. What exactly is it? Starfire asked as Raven too was a bit curious. Well, according to the files my birth parents left me in my pod before sending me to Earth as an infant, it's a form a Saiyan can reach if they are strong enough and then loses themselves to a fit of rage. My dad only knew of it cause he was a researcher and read through some ancient Saiyan texts. It is mainly manifested by a great need at first, like the need to defeat someone when the lives of others are in danger, he said as he frowned a bit. How did you awaken it? Sounds like it wasn't a good experience, Raven said as Naruto sighed and sat back down. I guess it wasn't, but hey, it gave me the power to protect those closest to me, Naruto said with a smile before Starfire sat down in front of him. May we know the story of what made you awaken your power? Starfire asked as Raven frowned. Star, if it wasn't a good experience we really shouldn't ask to hear about it, Raven said before Naruto shook his head. No, it's fine. If this helps you to see that this form isn't a danger to any of you on the team, then I'm fine with telling you, Naruto said, smiling up at Raven, as he was glad she was willing to ensure his privacy wasn't being invaded or pushed upon. It started in Metropolis when I was about 14 or so, Naruto said as he recalled the day Superman and I were dragged into one of Lex Luthor's ploys, and this time it got too dangerous. Lex had built himself a suit of power armor that was powered by kryptonite, and he had beaten me down with it and was bringing Superman to near death by keeping some shards of it exposed to weaken him, Naruto said as he remembered watching it from his crater Lex had sent him down into. It also didn't help that he had a bunch of robot guards to keep anyone else who tried to help back. I just remember watching as Lex laughed maniacally with a spear made of kryptonite in hand as he walked towards Superman, who was lying on the floor, bloodied and barely able to lift his head. I guess what woke it up in me was a need to protect my older brother, someone who was always there for me and understood me. I don't really remember much other than when I first woke it up, but by the time I snapped out of it, Kara and Barbara, who had been in the area and working to fight through Lex's defenses with the Batman and Robin at the time, were hugging me as Lex laid bloodied in front of me, Naruto said as he winced a bit at the memory. I had apparently been a bit ruthless in breaking his armor, which in my Super Saiyan state was no match for me, and after breaking it I didn't stop and kept attacking. Now I'm one of the few who are approved to end a villain's life, if it means saving the immediate lives of others or others down the line, but at the time I hadn't yet, Naruto said as he had only killed 2 villains so far that fit those requirements to do so. Both of which oddly were villains of Batman. Superman had asked them to stop me as, being the brother he was, he didn't want my first to be one brought from pure rage and for me to be burdened by the guilt of it. Kara and Barbara though were able to snap me out of it as they weren't a target of my rage and friends of mine, Naruto said as he smiled towards them. So while it does make me temperamental and quicker to become angry, I can promise you that it will never be directed at you, he said as the two of them nodded. Do be careful though, Naruto, as seeing you angry is very unlike you, Starfire said before he leaned forward and gave her and Raven's hands a squeeze which they returned as he looked at them. Yes, and seeing you and Raven so worried and frowning is unlike you both as well. So how about we move off the somber topic and I make you both some breakfast since the others won't be up for a while, Naruto said, as besides maybe Kara the others didn't wake up nearly this early, though neither did Starfire normally. Yes. We can make the pancakes and waffles, both of various berries and chips with the whipped cream as well, Starfire said excitedly before she leapt forward and hugged him before floating up to her feet. Naruto couldn't help but blush a bit as Star's ample chest was pressed against his, while she hugged him happily. Star, for me to make them you have to let me go, Naruto said as he honestly hadn't gotten used to Starfire's hugs, as she tended to not notice fully what she was doing at times or what they meant on Earth. Though she was getting better at it as time went on. Oh. You are right. Let us go then, Starfire said before she grabbed his hand and flew off with him in tow, leaving Raven to sigh and follow after them. Starfire, don't drag him around like that and please don't be so loud since people are still sleeping, Raven said as Starfire was already excitedly pulling out pots and pans to help out. But I wish to help with cooking, Starfire said with a pout as Naruto chuckled as he pulled himself off the ground where Starfire had left him after they entered the main living room. You can help, Star, but let's stick to Earth recipes as I don't think anyone other than maybe Kara and myself would be able to handle Tamaranian cuisine, Naruto said as Raven nodded. Yes, please do keep it on Earth and not too noisy. If you need me I'll be reading over there, Raven said as she summoned a book with her magic and walked over towards the tables and seats opposite of the kitchen. Do you not wish to cook with us, Raven? Starfire asked while Raven shook her head and sat down on the couch seats at the table. I don't cook well at all, stuff tends to burn when I do so I'll sit out. I will take some blueberry pancakes though please Raven said before she opened up her book and started to read. Got it, come on Star let's start with the batter and we can add in berries and chocolate chips for each batch he said as pulled out a large bowl to start making the batter in. I know Robin likes plain pancakes, Beast Boy likes blueberry waffles, Cyborg likes chocolate waffles, Kara likes blueberry pancakes, and Barbara likes chocolate pancakes. And then add in Raven's blueberry pancakes, and whichever ones you want this means we have a lot to make, Naruto said as Starfire nodded excitedly. We can make yours Tamaranian style if you want, and if we have ingredients Naruto said as for the most of the time whenever he had seen her cook Tamaranian dishes, they took a lot of ingredients to make. Oh thank you very much, but I am content with these. I will make mine with blueberries, the chips, and other fruits I have found to be quite tasty, Starfire said with a happy smile before she started to help him make the batter. As they started Naruto couldn't help but smile and laugh, as Starfire's enthusiasm always led to a mess, this time resulting in batter getting all over the counters and themselves. Though like always he never minded considering more or less it was fun cooking with Starfire. It was even enough for him to catch glimpses of smiles from Raven as she watched the two of them. Well morning you all, did the smell of breakfast wake you all up? Naruto asked as people started to trickle in. Yeah and the noise to a lesser amount. Is making breakfast always this messy? Kara asked as she floated over and scooped up some batter off his cheek with her finger and licked it off. I am sorry I just wanted to celebrate you both moving in and joining the team. New friends must be celebrated with the breakfast foods and more, Starfire said as she flew over to Kara and Barbara and handed them their pancakes. Oh well thanks Starfire, you're definitely making us feel welcome Barbara said with a smile as everyone started to sit down. Oh you two should probably wash up, Cyborg said as Naruto looked at the mess they made with a chuckle. Yeah we probably should. How about you go first and I'll clean things up here first Naruto said as Starfire nodded and wiped her face a bit with a nearby napkin. Yes that does sound good. Keep the food warm for I will be back, Starfire said before she flew off, careful not to let the batter drip off her. Naruto, as he looked down at her food, couldn't help but find it a very Starfire-ish dish and raise an eyebrow at it. Starfire, like she did with food, went all out as he was sure he saw bananas, blueberries, chocolate chips, strawberries, and what he swore was watermelon in her waffles, all with maple and blueberry syrup on top of it. Though she did have 9 stomachs so he doubted even this would be enough. The rest of breakfast, after getting cleaned up, was nice. They continued to talk, and both Kara and Barbara were sharing stories with the others before they noticed the time. Oh man, we still need to hurry to get our stuff so we don't waste a day doing it at the last minute, Barbara said with a frown, as Kara nodded. Though how are we going to get everything and bring it here without taking multiple trips? Kara asked as Starfire floated up and rose her hand. Friend Raven and I can help Starfire said as Raven sighed and closed her book. She's right as with my magic I can teleport it all back to the tower and even teleport you to where your stuff is without anyone noticing. It would save a lot of time Raven said since as much as she found it tedious, it was better than having everyone run back and forth moving things around. Thanks Raven, that really helps Naruto said as he smiled at her before she flipped her hood up and stood up, looking away from him. Just let me put my book away and I guess we can go though I can only bring the person whose house I am going to and maybe Naruto with me. It's easier this way, after the first is done we'll do the next, Raven said as Kara and Barbara nodded while Raven went to put her book away. So with it not nearly going to take up as much time as I thought it was going to do you have any ideas for the rest of the day or do we just sit around until something happens? Kara asked as Robin shook his head. Well there is a fair on boardwalk going on tonight from what I heard around town earlier this week. That could be fun and be a nice like official Titans get together to welcome our 2 new members Supergirl and Batgirl, Naruto said as the 2 girls smiled and nodded. Totally since fairs aren't really a big thing in either Gotham or Metropolis, so it'll definitely be fun, Barbara said as Raven returned. Hey Raven we decided to go to the fair down on the boardwalk tonight, are you down for coming along? Beast Boy asked as Raven frowned but looked around before sighing. Fine, sure I'll come along but don't expect much she said as everyone cheered. I know things like this aren't your thing, but thanks for agreeing to come along. It's more or less a welcome party for Barbara and Kara Naruto whispered to Raven as the gray-skinned girl nodded. I figured and it's fine as it's at night and I kind of do like the look of the city at night, she said before she stepped towards Barbara and Kara. So which one of you is first? She asked as honestly she just wanted to get this done quickly. A few hours later. Barbara's was first and, given how organized she was, they were able to bring her stuff back rather quickly in one trip due to being able to collect everything at once. Kara on the other hand took a bit longer as she had things scattered around more, requiring his help more so than Barbara. By the time the two of them had brought their things to the tower and unpacked, the sun was starting to set, which all the titans were excited for, since that meant the fair. "So do we change into our civilian clothes or what?" Barbara asked as she and Kara walked out of their rooms to find Naruto waiting for them as he leaned against the wall between their doors. "We can stay in our outfit since the people of Jump City doesn't really crowd around us, thankfully. Plus this allows us to be ready whenever. We still occasionally go out in civilian outfits, but with people like Starfire, Raven, Cyborg, and Beast Boy, it's hard to really be incognito," he said, as their skin color or odd features made it hard to hide themselves. "Cool. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get going," Kara said as she seemed excited for the fair before flying off towards the elevator to take her to the front door on the first floor where the others were most likely waiting at. "You know you are probably going to get dragged around the fair by us, right?" Barbara asked with a smirk as they made their way after Kara while he nodded. "Nothing I'm not used to. I mean, you and Kara did that whenever you both were in Metropolis or whenever Kara dragged me to Gotham with her. This time there is just one additional hypergirl and one slightly apathetic one," he said before they were pulled into the elevator by an excited Kara. "I am so going to win a ton of prizes at the stalls. Though I promise I'll hold back my strength or oh. You can win it for me," Kara said as she excitedly hugged Naruto's arm, making him blush a bit while Barbara merely smirked at the sight. "Oh good. Are you ready to go, my friends?" Starfire asked as the elevator doors opened and they walked out. "Yup. Have you ever been to a fair, Starfire?" Kara asked while the Retid shook her head. "No, this will be my first Earth Fair, but I am most thrilled for the candy of cotton and the rides I am told are there to enjoy," Starfire said as she bounced a bit and excited, making the other guys chuckle at. "Well, best not to stay waiting too long or else the lines will get long," Cyborg said as everyone nodded and headed out. Of course, to even get off their little island they had to fly across, which ended up with Raven taxiing Cyborg across on a platform of magic, Naruto carrying Barbara, Starfire carrying Robin, while Beast Boy turned into a bird to fly alongside Kara. They seemed to make it at just the right with how people were just starting to trickle in. "So where do we want to head first, or are we just going to do our own thing and meet up if we want to do something?" Beast Boy asked as Cyborg nodded. "I'm checking out if any of these stands have barbecue and maybe try to win myself something. What about you guys?" Cyborg asked as Barbara quickly grabbed Naruto's arm. "This guy is going to help me track down some bumper cars if anyone wants to come along," Barbara said as that piqued the interest of most of the titans save for Raven. "You all do that, I'm going to go find somewhere to sit down," she said before the others quickly headed off towards the bumper cars. The person in charge of the ride was a bit stunned to see the heroes of the city arrive, but he was quick to recover and help find people their cars, which were thankfully nice size to allow Cyborg to fit in as well. "How do I bump the cars?" Starfire asked as she sat in the car nearby him. "Star, when the ride starts your car will move forward, just steer it and bump into the others. It won't hurt them as it's meant to be fun," he said as Starfire nodded, a little less confused. "Just watch me a bit and do what I do, okay?" he said, making her nod again before the power turned on. For the most part he was targeted by Barbara and Kara with a confused Starfire, often bumping into him, while he also targeted the three of them. Robin ended up also being the focus of Barbara, while Beast Boy and Cyborg had their own rivalry going on during it. All in all, the first ride was pretty fun for them and started up the fun mood of the fair. "Next I want to go win some things at the stalls they have here," Kara said as she rose her clenched fist with a fiery look in her eyes. "I'm probably going to do the same, but I'm going to make it a challenge between me and Boy Wonder here to see who can get the most rings on the bottles," Barbara said as she pulled away a reluctant-looking Robin before Beast Boy and Cyborg went off most likely to find food. "And I will seek out the candy of cotton and other fair food," Starfire said with a happy smile that made Naruto chuckle at before she flew off. "Come on, I want a stuffed animal, and you're going to win it for me," Kara said as she proceeded to drag Naruto to the closest stall that offered stuffed animals. "At one. I want the rabbit," Kara said as she quickly found a stall with a prize she wanted, which ended up being a medium-sized blonde rabbit that was wearing a light blue sundress and light brown sundress hat. "Whoa there. I know about yours and Superman's strength. I'd be a fool to let you clean up my stall," the man attending to the stall said as Kara pouted. "What about me? I'm not a Kryptonian, and all we want is the rabbit," Naruto said as the man frowned, looked him over before sighing. "Fine, but only one prize. Can't have you be taking everything from me," the man said as he accepted Naruto's $3 and handed him 3 softballs. "I'll give you the rabbit if you can knock over 2 stacks of bottles with your 3 balls. Should be easy enough," the man quickly added as Naruto nodded. He knew this game wasn't rigged, given that rigged games were more carnival or amusement parks type of thing. But as he tested the weight of the ball in his hands, he knew it still would be difficult given how light the balls were compared to the 6 bottles stacked up in each pyramid. "Come on, I know you can do it," Kara cheered as she excitedly watched from beside him. He narrowed his eyes in focus as he threw the first ball at the bottom row of the stack, which went perfectly as it was able to bring it tumbling down and even ensure the bottom row was completely knocked over. The second stack, like the first, fell over as well as he had to use the last remaining softball to ensure the bottom row was completely down. Well, congrats. Enjoy the prize and the rest of the fair, the man said with a smile as he handed Kara the rabbit, which she happily hugged. I am so going to show this to Batgirl. I'll catch up with you later, Kara said before she excitedly flew off to show off her prize. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle before started to make his way through the fair, choosing to walk past Beast Boy and Cyborg as they pigged out on corn and chicken drumsticks respectively. So have you done anything here so far? Naruto asked as he found Raven sitting along on a bench under a light pole. Fairs aren't my thing. I like just relaxing and not being bothered. I came with because it was a team thing, she said while Naruto frowned a bit. He understood and respected her habit of keeping to herself, but at the same time he always tried to gently pull her out of her comfort zone when it was possible in safe scenarios like this. I know, but hey, let's at least get you a souvenir. I think I saw another prize booth around with some cool stuff, Naruto said as he offered her his hand. Really? She asked with a raised brow as he smiled at her. Come on, you can at least do this for me, right? It's just one booth and just a prize. Not like I'm going to drag you through the whole fair, he pointed out, making her sigh and nod before she accepted his hand and let him help her up. It was actually a pretty cool looking stall that caught my eye as I walked around. It seemed like one of those stall games where you have to shoot the prize off with a BB gun, Naruto said as they arrived at the stall. The stall was mainly an open back 3-part shelf with various prizes on it, from small plushies to snacks sitting on them with 2 BB guns attached to the stall via metal wires so people didn't run off with them. How much for a go at this stall? Naruto asked as he unzipped his back pocket and pulled his wallet out from his back pocket. $5 and you get 10 full power shots to knock anything over. You don't have to knock the thing off but only make it fall over. You can even win multiple prizes if you are skilled enough, the man said as Naruto handed the man the $5. The gun is loaded already with the 10 pellets and it takes 5 pumps for full power. Shoot away, the man said as Naruto started to pump up the BB gun. So what prize do you want? I was thinking the little black bird near the top, Naruto said as Raven looked over to see what looked to be a blue eyes black plump bird sitting near the top corner of the highest shelf. Really? A raven? Raven asked as Naruto chuckled. What, it looks cute and it'd go well in your room, unlike something more brightly colored, Naruto said while Raven just rolled her eyes. Sure, it doesn't look tacky, so I guess it's okay, Raven said as she watched him take aim before firing, hitting the bird near the top of its head, which surprisingly made it tip backwards. I knew all that time shooting things off the fence in Kansas would pay off, Naruto said with a smirk as he had a lot of practice with BB guns given when on a farm in Kansas there wasn't much to do so you had to make things to do. Which is why he often would borrow Clark's old BB gun and practice his aim and other various trick shots. Now what do you think Star and Batgirl would like? Naruto asked as the stall owner took down the Raven plushie, most likely waiting to give it to them after they finished. I guess Star would like the cat, well maybe Batgirl would like the dog, Raven said, unsure as she noticed a corgi with a purple headband and the orange tabby cat with a pink bow on its ear and tail. Naruto frowned a bit as he looked over the 2 plushies while he pumped up the BB gun again. The corgi looked like it was going to be the toughest due to already lying down, but with 9 shots, he definitely should be able to get them both. The cat took only 2 shots, one to turn it and the next to knock it over, while the dog took 5 shots, with each slowly moving it until it slid off. You can keep the last 2 shots as I think it's fair, Naruto said as he accepted the 3 plushies from the man. That was some really good shooting there, enjoy your prizes and the rest of the fair, the man said as they walked away, Naruto carrying the ones for Barbara and Starfire, while Raven held hers and looked it over. See? Was getting a souvenir that bad? He asked while Raven shook her head. I guess not, but I'm going back to my spot if that's okay with you, she said as he nodded. Of course, enjoy the rest of the fair in your own way, Naruto said with a smile, as Raven smiled ever so slightly up at him before looking away and heading off back towards her bench. Friend Naruto. I have found the candy of cotton and it is most enjoyable, Starfire said excitedly as she quickly flew over to him, having found him after he walked around on his own a bit. Oh, I'm glad you like cotton candy, Starfire, I figured you would, he said with a chuckle as he watched her pull apart pieces from a rather large pink collection of it on a white cone stick. How have you been enjoying the fair so far? He asked as he continued to watch her pull off pieces of cotton candy and enjoy the pure sugar treat. I am enjoying it very much. Everything is so friendly and enjoyable, Starfire said as Naruto smiled and held out the cat towards her. Well, I'm glad, consider this a little gift or souvenir as this is your first fair, so I want it, so you remember it, Naruto said before he braced himself as Starfire dove at him for a hug. That is most kind of you, Naruto, the cat is most adorable, Starfire said as he hugged her back with a chuckle before she pulled away and happily hugged the cat close to her while Barbara and Robin walked over to them. How did your match go, Batgirl? He asked as he noticed Barbara's proud smile and Robin's upset look before his question made Barbara's smile grow and Robin let out a groan. It went as well as Robin here is displaying, also known as me winning, Barbara said as she ruffled Robin's hair. Though sadly they didn't give us a prize considering who we are, she added with a pout before Naruto held out the corgi towards her. Then good thing I won you this at least, he said as Barbara smiled and accepted it from his hands. Oh thanks Naru, that's so sweet of you, Barbara said as she quickly gave him a hug with a happy smile. So what do you think you are going to do next? Barbara asked as she pulled away, looking over the cute corgi Naruto had gotten her. I don't know, Star, you want to go somewhere specifically? He asked as he wanted Star to enjoy the fare besides the food. Oh. I saw this one wheel that I thought looked most interesting. Will you join me on it? Starfire asked as she pointed towards the Ferris wheel at the end of the pier. The Ferris wheel? Sure, those are nice and relaxing, plus you get a great view from it, he said, while Starfire grew a happy smile and hugged his arm. Here Barbara, can you hold her stuffed animal? He asked before Barbara nodded. Sure thing, hope you two enjoy the Ferris wheel, Barbara said as Starfire nodded, still hugging onto his arm. We will, as it looks very fun, Starfire said before she started to drag Naruto towards it while he made himself fly a bit to make it easier for her. Ah, you two want to get on? You're just in time as the fireworks are going to start, giving you two a perfect and romantic view, the man in charge of the wheel, said. Naruto blushed a bit while Starfire turned her head to the side in confusion. Naruto, what does he mean by romantic view? And what are fireworks? Starfire asked as Naruto coughed into his fist. Don't worry about the first part, he said as a part of him wanted to glare at the man for bringing it as he chuckled at them, but fireworks are a kind of celebration thing, and while they are a bit loud they are pretty, Naruto said as the man quickly brought down the empty number 9 car for them to sit in. Enjoy the ride you two, I'll even stop it at the top just for you two, the man teased as Starfire was once again confused before the car started to move. Naruto found himself smiling as he watched the amazed look of enjoyment on Starfire's face as they slowly made their way around the wheel and she found the view of the ocean amazing. This is very wondrous, I am very glad I asked you to come with me, Starfire said as she smiled over to him, which made him smile more. Of course Starfire, I'm glad you're enjoying it, he said before it paused just as they got to the top and the fireworks started to fly into the air and go off. Wow, they are so beautiful, but on my home planet explosions like these would mean the Gordanians were attacking, are you sure the Earth is not under attack? Starfire asked as Naruto nodded. I assure you the Earth isn't under attack, so relax and enjoy the sight, Naruto said with a smile before she leaned forward, resting her elbows on the car and started to stare at the fireworks again, enthralled by the sight and colors of them. She continued to watch before he noticed her peering over the edge and blushing a bit until he looked and saw the couple below them were kissing. Is this somewhere people on Earth go to do the kissing? Starfire asked as she had learned what kisses on Earth meant, which made her a bit embarrassed. Yeah, it is a romantic place for couples I guess, but it's also a ride people like to go on to see the view, he said as she nodded. Kissing is so different on Tamarin than it is here on Earth. On Tamarin it is to transfer knowledge while on Earth it is romantic, Starfire said as she squirmed a bit beside him. I am still sorry for how we first met, she muttered before he chuckled and rubbed her back. You mean how you pulled me towards you by the collar of my shirt and kissed me to learn English? He asked as she nodded with a blush. It's honestly okay Starfire, and hey, it let me talk and get to know you personally, so in the end I'm fine with it, he said, blushing a bit himself as he remembered just how surprisingly deep that kiss was with Starfire. At first he remembered being shocked and stunned as the random alien girl, newly freed from her cuffs, pulled him in for that kiss. Later he learned that was how Tamaranian learned new languages, but at the time he was incredibly flustered by it all. I am glad, I am still learning Earth customs, but is this one where the kissing is okay? She asked as she scooted a bit closer to him. Naruto though was bright red as he stared at Starfire, trying to swallow what little saliva he had to wet his dry throat. I guess Naruto stammered out as he moved closer, the sound of the fireworks finale filling his ears as its light lit up the also blushing Tamaranian's face. But, just before they could get close enough to kiss, Naruto was pushed back as something shot past them and grabbed Starfire. As he watched her fly off he noticed the thing that grabbed her was a pink robotic squid of sorts. Naruto. She yelled as he widened his eyes at her before narrowing them and gritting his teeth. I'm coming Starfire. He yelled as he leapt off the Ferris wheel and quickly flew after Starfire. He frowned as at the angle it was flying off with Starfire, he couldn't really blast it without the danger of possibly hurting Starfire. He sped up, quickly catching Starfire in a princess carry as she was able to free herself with a starbolt. Are you okay Star? He asked as she nodded. I am okay, but it is coming back, Star said as Naruto nodded with a frown. Hold on to me as I'm going to finish it off, Naruto said as Star wrapped her arms around his neck, allowing him to free one of his hands as the squid turned around. Naruto summoned an orb of Kai in his hand before it grew bigger and started to flatten, spin, and grow into the shape of a curved X like a shuriken. Star, this is what you get for trying to kidnap my friend, Windmill Cutter. He yelled as he threw the spinning blade of Kai. The attack was faster than the squid could evade, and they watched as it tore through it and split it in half. He quickly moved his arm back to hold onto Starfire as he braced himself as the squid exploded with shockwave. Thank you, Naruto, thank you for chasing after me, Starfire said as she buried her head in the crook of his neck. Of course, Star, I would never let one of my friends be taken like that, Naruto said as he carefully pulled out his communicator, making sure not to jostle Star too much. Titans, Naruto said as images of the others popped up on the screen. What is it, Naruto, and why does it look like you're carrying Starfire? Robin asked as Naruto frowned a bit. Something just tried to kidnap Starfire. It was some pink flying robot squid, no joke. I'm heading back to the tower with Starfire, come back when you guys want, Naruto said while most of them nodded. We'll meet you there, is Starfire okay? Barbara asked as Star nodded but kept her face in the crook of his neck. She's a bit shaken up but safe. I was able to save her before it got too far away or was able to hurt her. I'll meet you all back at the tower, Naruto said before he hung up, slipped the communicator back onto his belt and started to make his way back to the tower. As they got back, the others were not far behind, thankfully, though. Once back in the tower, Starfire had relaxed and started to return to her cheerful self. The fair was fun and all, despite the kidnapping. Are you sure you don't want to head to bed? Cyborg asked as Starfire shook her head. No, I wish to continue to spend time with my friends. And to thank Naruto for my rescue, I will recite the poem of gratitude, all 6,000 verses, Starfire said, as everyone's eyes went wide and looked at Naruto. Well, I might as well make some coffee beforehand, Naruto said, as if this was a Tamaranian thing of hers he might as well accept it. Really, dude? You're going to sit through all that? Beast Boy asked as Naruto shrugged his shoulders. It's an alien thing of her race, I have to respect it. Just like you all respect my no going out on a full moon condition, I have, Naruto said as he might not have told them what happens to him, but they still accepted it. Though as he made his way to the kitchen he paused as a chuckle sounded out behind them. The mere sight of the woman put the others on guard before Starfire happily squealed and dove towards the woman and wrapped her in a tight hug. The woman looked similar to Starfire in terms orange skin and outfit theme. This woman though had long dark purple hair that was pretty close to black, her eyes were missing Star's green as they looked the normal white with dark purple eyes like her hair. Her outfit was a small black sleeveless top that accented her large chest that was easily an H-cup and a black short skirt, her skin covered with a sleek silver long-sleeved shirt and silver spats under her skirt. Her outfit shared the collar, bracelets, and long thigh-high boots as Starfire, while her boots were black like the rest of her outfit. He also noticed a green gem around her neck which he could feel energy irradiating off it while it amplified hers. Sister. It is so nice to see you again. Starfire squealed as they hugged before the woman gently pushed Star away, holding up a finger as if to say one moment and walked over towards Naruto. Naruto rose an eyebrow at her, unsure of why she was heading his way before the woman pulled him in by the collar of his shirt and trapped him in a deep kiss. This one, unlike Star's when they first met, was much deeper and he was visibly stunned as the woman worked her tongue into his mouth. Ah, that is much better, I have to say. Well, I should have done that sooner, I'm glad I waited, the woman purred out as she pulled away from the kiss, smirking at the dark blush on Naruto's face before Starfire quickly got in between the two of them and cleared her throat. Is that a Centauri moon diamond? Where did you get it? Starfire asked, her tone a bit strained as she changed the topic and pointed towards the green gem around the woman's neck. On the Centauri moons, it came in handy getting here, she said before Starfire clapped her hands. Oh, you must meet my friends. Come. Starfire said as she dragged her sister away from Naruto and towards the others. Friends, this is my big sister, she introduced as the woman stepped forward. My name is Commander, but you can call me Blackfire. Now Star told me all about the Titans in her transmissions, although it seems you got some new ones. Now let me guess, each of you, Blackfire said as she walked over to Cyborg first. Cyborg, right? She asked as Cyborg nodded and held out his hand. Pleased to meet you, little lady, he said with a smile as Blackfire shook it, the sound of crushing metal sounding out as Cyborg held up his now crushed hand. Little lady, big handshake. Well, alright, he said impressed before she walked over to Raven. Raven. I like that gemstone on your Ajna chakra, Blackfire said, making Raven smile a bit as the only other person around that knew of chakras was Naruto, from him being one to meditate as well. You know about chakras? She asked as Blackfire nodded. I got way into meditation on Altara Prime. We'll have to do a bit while I'm here, Blackfire said, making Raven's small smile grow a bit before moving on to the next in line. Beast Boy. What's up? She asked, making Beast Boy smirk. Nothing but the ceiling, baby, he joked, making Blackfire chuckle and laugh. Good one. She said as Beast Boy leaned towards Raven. See? She thinks I'm funny, Beast Boy pointed out as Raven sighed. Statistically, I suppose someone has to, Raven said with a flat face, making Beast Boy deflate before he heard Naruto laugh, which made him grumble a bit. You must be Robin. I do have to say I am loving this cape, Blackfire said as she zipped behind him and held it up for her to look at. Thanks, it's a high-density polymerized titanium. 10 times stronger than steel, Robin said while Blackfire nodded and floated over to Naruto. He was standing in the kitchen with a cup of coffee, as he had been expecting to stay up through Starfire's poem. That means the one I kissed must be Naruto, the Saiyan I heard so much about from Starfire. It is a rarity to see one of your kind that isn't a savage, Blackfire said before covering her mouth, embarrassed. I didn't mean it like, don't worry, Naruto interrupted her with a smile. Trust me, I know from my parents' logs that Saiyans are brutes, but thankfully I didn't inherit that. It is very nice to meet you, Blackfire, as family of a team member is always welcome, Naruto said as he shook her hand. I'm surprised you weren't too shocked from my kiss, was it not powerful enough? She teased with a mock pout as Naruto chuckled and rubbed the back of his head. Oh, trust me, I was shocked and it was powerful, just Starfire did the same when we first met, although without tongue, he muttered the last bit more to himself as Blackfire smiled and Starfire pouted behind them. I have to say though, I would love to get a match in with you. Fighting a Saiyan was always a rewarding experience, as I remember watching our fighters spar against your kind, and it was always a marvel, Blackfire said, smiling at him as she leaned a bit closer to him. Well, maybe tomorrow we can, Naruto said before he heard Barbara clear her throat as Starfire squirmed nervously behind him. Oh yeah, you probably don't know these two as they just became titans, but these two, he said as he motioned towards the two of them, are Batgirl and Supergirl. Batgirl is human while Supergirl is Kryptonian, Naruto said as Blackfire smiled towards the two of them. It is very nice to meet you too, she said as they nodded. Yeah, always nice to meet new people, Barbara said as Starfire scooted closer in between him and Blackfire. So beloved sister, what brings you to Earth? Starfire asked as Blackfire stepped back and shrugged her shoulders. I was in the quadrant. Thought I'd see if Earthlings like to party, Blackfire said before she hopped over and onto the couch. Besides, I needed a rest. First I crash-landed on the moons of Centauri, and with no way out I had to scour it for a diamond to help me get here. Then on my way here I nearly get sucked into a black hole, Blackfire mentioned offhandedly, causing the guys, except Naruto, to rush over and gush over her story. Well, I'm sure we have a spare room for you to use while you're here. It'll be a bit basic in terms of decor, but it'll do, Naruto said as he put his coffee down and stood up, not one too interested in spaceflight. Give any full-bodied planet or moon would mess with him dangerously. Oh great. Give me a sec and you can show me the way, Blackfire said, taking a pause in her story to smile towards Naruto. So Naruto, did you enjoy her kiss? Barbara asked as she appeared suddenly behind him, causing him to jump a bit. What? I don't know if I exactly did like it cause it all happened so fast, Naruto stammered out as Kara gave him a dry look while Barbara merely rubbed her chin in thought before walking off. All in all, he felt Blackfire was going to shake things up in the tower for sure. The next day. Naruto grunted as he continued to do push-ups under 20 times Earth's gravity. The first morning after Blackfire came to stay with him was interesting to say the least. She had ended up taking the bedroom across the hall from his, and she fit in rather well with most of the titans. She played games with Beast Boy and Cyborg, went to a poetry reading with Raven, and even sparred with Robin and Batgirl. She even got along with Kara as Blackfire found she shared an enjoyment of action movies. All in all, she seemed like a nice girl, but he could quickly tell Starfire was feeling replaced. Friend Naruto? Have you seen Blackfire? Starfire asked as while he lifted up to see her float over to the gravity chamber. Can't say I have, sorry Star, he said before she frowned. Oh, I see, would you like to do the hanging out? She asked as she nervously rubbed her arm. Sure, I've been working out like all morning and I could use a break, he said once he turned off the chamber and walked out. Oh, much joy. Starfire cheered as she flew towards him to hug him, which he returned. Are you okay there, Star? You're hugging tighter than usual, he groaned out as he patted her on the back. I am not sorry, it is just your sister making you feel left out. He completed for her, making her frown as she slowly pulled away from him. Look, you aren't being replaced, I promise. If anything, I'd say your sister is just wanting to get to know your friends, Naruto said as Star nodded and he gave her shoulders a reassuring squeeze. You're right, my friend. Let us go spend time with the others and bond over the movies. Starfire said with her mood relit from her previous saddened mood. Movies sound good, let's go get the others, Naruto said before he was once again pulled away by Starfire, something he figured she tended to do when excited, towards the living room. Friends. I come with Naruto with the offer of a movie night. We may get the non-cotton candies and the popcorn to enjoy the movies, Starfire said as the others turned around. A movie night actually sounds really fun, Star. We can do a marathon since I doubt we'd all be able to agree on one movie, Kara said before the doors behind them opened. Forget the flicks, kid, we're going out. Blackfire declared as she stood with her arms out, showing off her new outfit that was like her last only minus the silver shirt and spats underneath. Her bracelets had also changed into a pair of gauntlets that were missing the finger up to a bit under the second knuckle, with her boots now only being calf-high just below her knees. Naruto also noticed the moon diamond was no embedded in where the normal jewel on her collar thing was normally located. I heard about a party downtown with a cool crowd and hot music, Blackfire said as the boys nodded and agreed with her idea. And it's in a creep rundown warehouse, she added, getting Raven's attention. Well, what about Starfire's movie night? Barbara asked as Robin frowned. Consider this Blackfire's welcome party of sorts. Plus we should make her feel welcome, Robin said before he looked over at Starfire. You're okay with that, right? He asked as before she could even answer Beast Boy pipped in. Of course she is, come on, it'll be fun, Beast Boy said before he and the other guys as well as Raven headed towards the door. Look, I'm sorry, Star, but since dancing isn't my kind of thing, I'll at least stick by you, Naruto said as Starfire smiled and nodded before walking off with Barbara. Are you sure you're okay going along, Naruto? It is getting close to a full moon, Kara said worriedly as she held Naruto back for a bit before he nodded. I should be fine as it isn't a real full moon, so as long as I don't stare or anything I'll be fine. Plus I have these to help, Naruto said as he pulled out a pair of black sunglasses. Well, just be careful, I've seen the log of what would happen if you stared at the moon too long when full, and we don't need that. Plus I don't want to have to cut off your tail, it's cute, she said, making Naruto chuckle as he put the glasses on and rose them onto his forehead. I'll be careful, I promise. These were made to help me after all, Naruto said as Blackfire floated back in. Come on you two, don't fall behind, Blackfire teased before she floated over and hugged onto Naruto's arm before pulling him along. Fine, we're coming I guess, Kara said as she followed after them. Warehouse. By the time they arrived at the warehouse, Naruto was already feeling on edge, as while not a full moon it was dangerously close. The glasses he had could protect him from some of the blitz waves the incomplete full moon gave off. They though were virtually useless under an actual full moon due to how powerful it was for him. This place is a headache waiting to happen. I'm going to find a non-spiked drink and find somewhere to sit, Naruto said with a groan before Blackfire hugged his arm. Oh, don't be like that, come on and dance a bit, Blackfire said as she pulled him along into the middle of the dance floor, the people around them moving out of the way, while Naruto lost track of the others. Why haven't you hung out with me much today? I didn't see you all day, Blackfire said as she hovered in front of him and danced, swaying her body and hips to the music. I mainly train in the afternoon, especially on days nearing full moons, since I don't really go out on full moons, Naruto said as he tried to dance with her, since dancing wasn't really his thing. Sure, his mom taught him how to mainly do a waltz-style dance, but that was about it. You take the fighting thing seriously, must be the Saiyan in you, she said as she floated around him, wrapping her arms around his neck from behind. Though can't say I don't like a powerful man, she whispered into his ear, making him blush a bit before he nervously slipped through her arms. I'm sorry, I'll be right back. I got to get something to drink, Naruto said as he hurried off, wanting to get out from under the moon's light as it shone through the skylight. As he got to the top of the stairwell, he couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief as he got out of the moon's light. He didn't have anything against Blackfire, he really didn't, as his time with the girl were always filled with some flirty undertone, but in this atmosphere with the moon it was going haywire on his emotions. Naruto? Are you okay? Starfire asked, bringing him out of his daze as he saw her at the bottom of the stairs with a frown on her face. Oh yeah, I'm okay, the moon is just a bit much right now, Naruto said, as Starfire's frown deepened while she hovered up towards him and sat next to him. Do you wish to return home? She asked, placing her hand on his upper arm, which made him smile. I'm fine, this is a thing for your sister, and she seems to be all for it. Might as well tough it out. Thanks for worrying about me though, Naruto said as he put his hand over hers and gave it a soft squeeze. How are you handling the club scene? He asked as she sighed. It is very much. I don't think it is for me, she said, leaning against him with her head on his shoulder. Yeah, I figured since you aren't the club kind of girl. Too pure and sweet for it, he said with a chuckle, making her smile softly. I am glad you at least do not seem to have replaced me with my sister, Starfire said as he frowned and reached his arm over her shoulder, giving it a squeeze as he brought her closer. The others aren't replacing your Starfire, I think they are just caught up in her tales of her adventures. Give them time to settle down and they'll calm down, and if they don't, I'll beat some sense into them, with Barbara and Kara helping, Naruto said, smiling as Starfire's frown turned into a soft smile. Thank you, Naruto. I am going to get the fresh air, Starfire said as she stood up with a smile. Just be safe, okay? With that squid thing I'm a bit worried there might be more, he said before Starfire nodded with a smile. I will be vigilant and thanks again, she said as she quickly leaned down to kiss his cheek before flying up the stairs. Naruto blushed a bit as he held his hand up to his cheek, surprised by the kiss before he heard a throat clear from down at the bottom of the stairs. Getting a drink, eh? Blackfire asked as she stared up at him from the bottom of the stairs with a frown. I'm sorry, it's just the moon is getting difficult for me. I had to get out from under it, Naruto said as Blackfire frowned but nodded as she hovered up and over to him. And then my sister joined you and you two flirted? She asked as she crossed her arms with a frown. I wouldn't say flirted, I'm more like I consoled her as she was worried about something, Naruto said with a frown as Blackfire only seemed to get frustrated at it. Is this why you haven't flirted back with me? Because you like my sister more? Blackfire asked as Naruto's blush rose up and he nervously rubbed the back of his neck. Well look, it's not that I don't like you or anything, it's just I guess confident women like you somewhat put me back, Naruto said with a chuckle as Blackfire frowned and sat herself down next to him, pulling her legs in close to her and burying her head in them. Yes, that's why people love my sister more. She's more docile and sweet, so of course people like her more, even my own people like her more than her. I shouldn't be surprised it's like this on Earth as well, Blackfire muttered into her legs as Naruto frowned, unsure of what to do before he starts to rub her back consolingly. Look Blackfire, I may not know how things are on Tamarin, but on Earth things are fresh for you, no shadows to be stuck under, and no preconceptions. And it's funny you say that as Starfire was more worried about her friends loving you more than her and forgetting her, Naruto said with a chuckle as Blackfire turned her head slightly, just enough to let one eye look at him. Really? She asked as Naruto nodded. Yeah, that's what we were talking about a bit before we came here and then just a second ago. So again, I don't know how it is on your home planet, but things are and can be different here, Naruto said, making Blackfire frown as she sat up a bit, still hugging her legs. Do you want to know how things are on there? She asked, looking at him with worry in her eyes. If you are okay with it, but if you aren't, don't push yourself, Naruto said, since the last thing he wanted was to make her go out of her comfort zone with a sore topic. When I was born on Tamarin there was an attack on a western city. An empire called the Citadel Empire attacked and killed thousands of Tamaranians and claimed it in my name as I was the first princess born in over 100 years. People forever linked me with that day, and to make things worse, when I was young I was struck ill and it left me unable to fly at all, and even now my flight isn't as strong, requiring me to need enhancing tech or stones to help me fly in space since I had to be experimented on to allow me to fly at all, she said, cringing a bit at the undoubtedly horrible memory. Ever since I was born my people have hated me, they denied me my birthright and refused to allow me to be princess, so when Starfire, was born they were quick to give them all to her, Blackfire said, clenching her hands and somewhat digging her nails into her boots. Even to this day I have this deep-seated hatred towards Starfire, but no matter how much I try, I can't really hate her, she said as tears started to gather in her eyes. Star, for as long as I can remember, has been my biggest fan. She encourages me and cheers me on and thinks I'm perfect. Despite me feeling this way towards her I must be terrible, Blackfire said as she wiped the tears from her cheeks that trickled down. Blackfire widened her eyes slightly as Naruto draped his arm over her shoulder and pulled her closer to her. Honestly, I'm not in a position to really offer you advice, but the bit I can offer is to talk to Starfire. Bare your soul to her like you did to me, and I can assure you she'll only love and care for you more, Naruto said as he gave her shoulder a squeeze, smiling as she rested her head against his shoulder. Starfire loves you, Blackfire, and I doubt she'll stop loving you. Just talk with her and she will listen and be there for you, he added, making her chuckle and wipe her tears more. You really are kind-hearted, unlike most Saiyans, Blackfire said as Naruto stood up, gently helping her up as well. Well, that's good to know, now go talk to her, she's up on the roof and would love the company, he said, while Blackfire nodded before she wrapped him up in a hug. Thank you, Naruto, you're the first I've ever told all of this to, and I guess I'm glad I gave you that kiss even more, Blackfire said as she looked him in the eyes, slowly moving her lips closer to his while he didn't move and was ready to accept it. But just before their lips met, seemingly like a trend as the universe seemed to be hating him at the moment, another squid burst through the wall and crashed into the both of them and pulled them along out into the side alley of the warehouse. You guys again. You have the worst timing. Naruto yelled as he pointed his hand in the form of a gun up at it. Kai cannon. He yelled before the squid quickly let him and Blackfire go, causing his attack to miss and them both to skid on the concrete below. You know these things? Blackfire asked as she summoned her black star bolts in her hands, while Naruto nodded. Yeah, I tried to grab Starfire last night at a fair and I destroyed it. There must be more, Naruto said before they heard Starfire scream and another one shot down with her in tow before crashing into Blackfire. Blackfire though was ready as she planted her feet and caught it, digging her starbolt shrouded hands into it. Hey ugly. Let go of my sister. Blackfire roared as she dug her fingers into the top of its head, causing sparks to come out before it let Starfire go, and Blackfire threw it up so it could explode safely. Are you okay, Starfire? Blackfire asked as Starfire nodded before she pointed behind her just before another crashed into them. Blackfire tried to struggle as it bound them both up tightly to the point it was hard to even breathe. And Naruto Blackfire choked out as she could see another having smacked Naruto into the wall with a hard slap, causing him to embed into it. I'm coming, hold on you two. Naruto groaned out with a glare as he watched a squid electrocute the two of them, knocking them out before tossing them in a nearby dumpster, which the two remaining squids proceeded to pick up. Why you aren't getting away? Naruto roared as he pulled himself out of the wall, and his aura flared around him with his hands glowing brightly, not even noticing as the other titans hurried out into the alley. Let them go. He yelled as he aimed his hands up towards the squids. Blast barrage. He roared before he unleashed, in rapid succession, blast after blast from both his hands towards the squids. He poured his rage into the blasts as he roared during the attack, each blast fueled to be much stronger than his average Kai blast. Hara, knowing this attack before, quickly pushed the others out of the line of fire as the blasts tore apart the alleyway and honed in on the squids as not to endanger the two sisters. The blasts mercilessly tore through them, allowing the dumpster to fall back down unharmed, while Naruto panted from the exertion he put forth for the attack, as well as the anger he unleashed. Hucking squids, Naruto panted as he walked over, uncaring for the occasion rubble dropping near him, and opened the dumpster. Are you two okay? He asked as he hopped in, uncaring for the garbage before the two of them woke up and smiled at him. Yes I am, thank you, Starfire said while Blackfire nodded along. Let's get back to the tower, who knows if there are more, Naruto said as he helped them up and out of the dumpster. Starfire? Blackfire? Are you okay? Robin asked as the team rushed over to them, while Barbara quickly rushed to Naruto. What about you? Are you okay? She asked while Naruto nodded. Yeah, let's just hurry back as the moon is getting dangerous as it's making me more and more angry, Naruto said before Barbara handed him another pair of glasses. Gotta love that belt, he said with a smirk as he slipped them back on. Once back at the tower, Blackfire and Starfire quickly decided to take a shower to wash the garbage smell off them. Naruto though sat in the living room with a frown as he practiced his deep breathing to get his anger under control. I don't get it. How have these things been able to track down both Starfire and Blackfire? And just what are these things? He asked half to himself and half to the titans around him. I have no idea. With Starfire it happened at the pier on the Ferris wheel while it tore through a building to get to Blackfire. It can either hone in on Tamaranian DNA or it's tracking something, but that doesn't make sense, Barbara spoke out loud as her training with Batman made her a rather good detective. They might be able to track Tamaranian energy like how Naruto can track people's Kai, but I can't really know since all of them were destroyed into scrap metal, Cyborg said as they nodded. For now we need to be cautious as I feel those squids were just drones and they have to have someone commanding them. For now neither Starfire nor Blackfire leave the tower, Robin said as everyone nodded. I also can't leave the tower for the next few days, at least until the moon wanes a bit more. I'll be out of commission for about a week since the moon is dangerously full 3 days before and after a full moon, Naruto said as he could feel himself getting to dangerous levels in the alley, way from the light the moon gave off, meaning if he looked at the moon directly it could spell danger. Why is that? I mean you've mentioned it before but never explained. Are you a werewolf or something? Beast Boy joked as Naruto sighed. Something like that, but I don't want to talk about it, he replied with a frown before he got up, Kara and Barbara sending Beast Boy a scolding look that made the green boy flinch. I'm going to go check on them, I'll be back with them, he said as he left the living room. As he made his way to their rooms, figuring their showers were over, he smiled as they walked out. Great timing girls, we are all hanging out in the living room and we need to talk about what all has been happening. Are you two okay to come with? He asked as the two sisters nodded. Yeah, and I think I know why they are coming after us, Blackfire said with a sigh as Naruto rose an eyebrow but nodded, walking alongside them as they headed back towards the living room, deciding Blackfire would explain it when they were all together. Oh good, are you two feeling okay? Kara asked as the three of them walked in. Yes, we are much better and not sticking of garbage, thank you for worrying, Starfire said with a smile before Blackfire walked over to in front of the half-circle shaped couch. Yeah, I'm feeling better too, but I think those things were after this, Blackfire said, getting straight to it as she put her Centauri moon diamond on the table. Those things were Centauri drones, I had to escape a few while on Centauri to get one of these diamonds out of their minds, Blackfire added as she frowned and sat down at the edge of the couch. So they are after you cause you stole a diamond? Beast Boy asked with a raised eyebrow as Blackfire nodded. The Gordanian prisoner ship I was on at the time crashed on one of Centauri's moons while they were transferring me. It was a bit after they captured me on another planet since much like my sister they have a hatred for Tamaranians and have been hunting me down for a while now, Blackfire said with a shudder as she remembered their home planet being attacked and her fleeing it after Starfire was captured and being on the run ever since. When I realized where I was I booked it for the mines to get a diamond so I could fly since unlike Starfire, I can't on my own and need either something that boosts my power like this gem or tech, which they destroyed after capturing me, to fly. Once I had the diamond I flew here as fast as I could, since this was somewhere I felt I could be safe on considering my sister and her friends were here, Blackfire concluded before Starfire sat next to her and held her hand. We will fix this, sister. I am sure if we explain the situation and return it, they will leave us be, Starfire said as she gave her hand a squeeze. Yeah, I already have a lock on an alien frequency that is coming our way. We'll meet them and explain things. I'm sure if these Centauri aliens are reasonable they will be fine as long as we return it and I can work on some boosting tech for you in the morning, Cyborg said, making Blackfire smile and nod before Kara patted her on the back. And if not we can work something out, Kara added, making Blackfire chuckle. Thank you all, this really means a lot, Blackfire said as Naruto smiled at her. It's the least we can do for a friend, he said, giving her other hand a squeeze and making her squeeze his back. For now I think rest will be best for you three, Barbara said as she looked towards the two sisters and Naruto, giving the last one a stern look that he knew too well. Fine. I get it, no need to use that look, Naruto grumbled as he rubbed the back of his neck with a sigh before looking towards Blackfire as she cleared her throat. Actually before that can I ask you something, Robin? Blackfire asked as the boy wonder rose an eyebrow and nodded. Sure thing, he said, making her nod before she took a deep breath. May I stay here for the foreseeable future as a Titan? She asked, making Starfire squeal as she quickly captured her sister in a hug. Oh yes. Please say it is okay, Robin, Starfire said as Naruto figured by the smile on Blackfire's face that the two had already talked things out. Of course, Blackfire. I was actually going to bring it up tomorrow when I had a spare communicator made, but you'll just have to wait for tomorrow to get it. Welcome to the team, Robin said as he shook her hand as everyone cheered. Great. With that settled I can do this easier, Blackfire said before she looked over to Naruto, grabbed his shirt and pulled him in for another kiss. Though unlike the first with being caught off guard and stunned before he could return it this time, he was able to shake it off in time to kiss her back. As they mashed lips, Naruto was stunned by how versatile her tongue was as it wrapped around his while invading his mouth. Her lips were incredibly soft as they pressed against his, and her tongue tasted like berries. As much as he found himself wanting more they broke away and he could only smile a bit as Blackfire smiled back at him flirtatiously. Sister. Kisses mean much more than on Tamarin. Starfire scolded with a dark blush of her own as Blackfire smirked at her. Oh I know, this was me staking a place with him, Blackfire purred out as Naruto was a bit dazed from the deep French kiss, especially given how long a Tamaranian's tongue was. Then I too shall stake the place, Starfire declared before she stood up, put her hands on his shoulders and leaned in for a kiss. While unlike Blackfire's in terms of raw passion and natural talent, Starfire's made up for it in sweetness. He found himself more in the lead with her as he gingerly slipped his tongue into her mouth, surprising Starfire before she followed along. I hope it was enjoyable, Starfire stuttered out as she broke the kiss, smiling at him as Blackfire hugged her and gave her an encouraging pat on the back. What the hell was that? Beast Boy asked, his voice cracking as he wasn't expecting the two sisters to make out with Naruto. That was two Tamaranian princesses claiming their mate. Of course it would go differently on Tamarin, so consider this the Earth version of it if he'll accept us, Blackfire said as she held her sister's hand and smiled at Naruto, finding both his and her sister's blushes adorable. Wait, on Earth you can't have two girlfriends. Kara stuttered out, the others raising an eyebrow more at her stutter than Beast Boy's. Also, did they say princesses? Raven asked, pipping in for the first time as she just barely caught the kisses. Yes, Starfire and I are crowned princesses of Tamarin, where I guess what you would call polygamy is more accepted to ensure strong heirs and spread love, Blackfire said as she rose an eyebrow. Though I am confused why you all are reacting weirdly to it, considering Saiyans are a polygamist race as well. Strong males get multiple mates to ensure strong offsprings. Did he not tell you? Blackfire added, looking towards Naruto who was rubbing the back of his neck. I might have heard it in my parents' logs, but I never really brought it up since I was raised on Earth. I never really intended to since it's not something normal on Earth, but it all depends on if the girls are okay with it, Naruto said as Barbara chuckled. About time you admitted it, she said as everyone looked at her. What? Working with Batman gave me access to the logs which Superman gave him with Naruto's permission. I noticed the mention of polygamy, and personally I don't have any problem with it, considering he knows my feelings for him, she said as she walked over and was the next to kiss him. Her kiss like Blackfire's involved tongue as she was more skilled with it than Blackfire, but before he could get too into it, the Redeed pulled away with a teasing smile, as if to say be patient and you'll get more. Seriously Barbara? You too? Robin yelled in shock as Barbara shrugged her shoulders. What can I say? I confessed to him long ago, but up until now with me in Gotham and him in Metropolis it wouldn't have worked. I intended to talk to him alone about it, but I guess since the two of you are getting acclaim, she said as she looked at the two Temeranians I might as well too, Barbara concluded as the majority of the Titans were shocked, either visibly or on the inside. Well I'm glad I joined, this will be interesting to say the least, Blackfire said with a giggle, as Naruto couldn't help but feel like things from this point on were only going to get more intense in multiple ways. But on the other hand he didn't really mind all that much. Chapter end. Chapter 3. A few days later. The sound of his blaring alarm stirred Naruto from his sleep, but before he could reach out to turn it off the noise silenced itself. He smiled, about to go back to sleep before a pair of hands started to gently jostle him. Wake up Naruto, it is morning now Starfire softly said making him smile a bit more as being woken up by Starfire's soft voice was better than a blaring alarm. Morning Starfire Naruto said as he opened his eyes to see the smiling Temeranian looking down at him before his face quickly lit up in a dark blush and he scurried back from her. Starfire. What are you wearing? Naruto asked. He tried his best not to look but couldn't tear his eyes away. As here, alone in his room, was Starfire wearing only a soft purple apron with white frills and nothing else. She was showing off copious amounts of cleavage due to the low length of the apron and the sides of her breasts were showing due to how small the apron was in general. It was barely even long enough to reach past her womanhood. What do you mean? I read in a book that this is the outfit girlfriends wear to wake their boyfriends, Starfire said as she innocently tilted her head as she pulled at the apron, making her breasts jiggle a bit before she floated up and did a spin around, quickly giving him a flash of her rather plump butt. Star I don't know what book you read, but it isn't true. That is more of a private bedroom thing, Naruto said as he tried his best not to look more at the honestly amazing sight. Really? Then the book was most likely regards to bedroom activities like sex she started to say before he finished for her. She stood there for a moment as he watched a dark blush wash over her face and she quickly fell to the floor, burying her face in her legs that she hugged close to her. I did not know. I thought it was an Earth custom she stuttered out before she felt something get draped over her to see a blanket. It's okay Starfire, no need to be embarrassed or upset. Just borrow my blanket and sneak back to your room he said as she looked up and nodded. And if it helps you looked really amazing in it he added while he rubbed the back of his neck, still blushing before Starfire stood up and kissed him on the cheek. I am glad she said with a soft blush before she quickly floated towards the door. Oh yeah before you leave, he said getting her to quickly turn around. Where did you find this book? He asked as Starfire tilted her head in thought. I believe I found it near the garbage that seeps out of Beast Boy's room, Starfire said as Naruto nodded. Okay, I'll see you at breakfast he said before she smiled and nodded and quickly flew out of his room, which with her room next door, the danger of being caught was low. Due to the rather interesting whack-up call he was wide awake. It had been a few days since the whole gaining 3 girlfriends thing and it wasn't nearly as awkward as he thought it would be. For the most part Starfire was the same only clingier at times which he didn't mind, Barbara was the same, but like Blackfire often flirted and teased him when they had the chance and Blackfire was the most flirtatious and bold out of the 3. Though thankfully neither Blackfire nor Barbara did anything too bad in front of others. As he left his room and headed towards the living room, he paused for a moment to check the on-call board, something Robin set up with the help of Barbara. The two of them basically figured with 9 Titans they didn't need to all go out, so depending on the day 5 of them would be on call, while the remaining 4 would have a day off, unless a situation called for backup. His days off were always the 3 days before and after a full moon, as well as the day of the full moon. He could go out during the day of the 3 days before and after, but on a full moon, even the daytime was dangerous with how much Blutz waves the moon gave off in general. And it seemed today he, Blackfire, Starfire, and Beast Boy were off for the day while the others were on call. Oh hey, morning dude. Seems like we have the day off Beast Boy said with a chuckle as he walked into the living room only to yelp in pain as Naruto hit him upside the head. Ouch dude. What was that for? Beast Boy asked as Naruto narrowed his eyes. For corrupting Starfire and leaving your magazines out in the hall with the trash that falls out of your room, Naruto said with finger quotations as it took Beast Boy a moment to figure out what he meant before he blushed a bit. I'll be more careful he said in defeat as Naruto nodded before he braced himself as Blackfire flew into him. Good morning DEAR Blackfire sang out as she wrapped her arms around his waist and rested her head on his shoulder before kissing his cheek. He knew already she was only wearing a pair of short pajama pants and one of his oversized t-shirts as she had quickly decided on that for her sleepwear. Morning Blackfire, seems like we have the day off, Naruto said, as Beast Boy decided this was the best time to escape, which he didn't mind, given he already warned him. Yay. I want to go to the mall with you to get some clothes. Ooh oh. We can bring Star along and make it a double date. She said excitedly, making Naruto chuckle a bit as he nodded and patted her hands that were around his waist. Sure, the mall sounds like fun if Star is down for it, he said, making her squeal before she kissed his cheek again. I'll go ask, I'll be right back. She said quickly before flying off, avoiding Barbara as she made her way over. A double date, eh? Such a shame I'm on call, you'll make it up to me later, won't you? Barbara asked as she teasingly pinched his cheek. Of course, I was planning to do actual dates with you three after the full moon passes, but I'll definitely plan a nice date for us, he said, getting her to smile before she kissed him softly. Good answer. I look forward to it, she said with a smile before she sidestepped as Starfire flew in and crashed into him, nearly toppling him with the speed she was going. We are going on the date? Starfire asked with bright eyes and a massive smile as he nodded. To the mall. I plan to take you, Blackfire, and Barbara on full solo dates, but consider this a small one, he said, making her squeal and bounce around excitedly before Blackfire stopped her by putting her hands on her shoulders. Okay, easy there, Star dear, come with me and let's get you in a nice outfit. We'll meet you at the front door, Blackfire said as she steered her excited sister out of the room. Well, those two seem happy, Cyborg said with a chuckle as they sped past him. Did Mr. Boyfriend here do something to make them like that? Cyborg asked as ever since he started going out with the three girls Cyborg had taken upon himself to tease him about it whenever able to. He's taking them on a date like the good boyfriend he is, Barbara said as she kissed his cheek, making Naruto blush and grumble, as Cyborg's teasing wasn't that bad, but always got worse when Barbara was around and decided to play along. Whatever. I got to go get ready, he grumbled out as he wiggled out of Barbara's grip and went around Cyborg, ignoring them as they chuckled at him. Not wanting to keep the girls waiting, he quickly got changed into his civilian clothes, which consisted of a pair of black sneakers, dark blue jeans, an orange t-shirt, and an open black short-sleeved button-up shirt. His tail was easy to hide as he used it as a belt, and it was covered up by the length of his t-shirt. This was his normal outfit when he used to live in Metropolis in Kansas, and used to be when he more or less used the name his adoptive parents gave him, which was Nate Kent. Though being a titan and a hero basically full-time, he felt using his Saiyan name mainly fit him better. Also because in Jump City there wasn't a need for secret identities, much it seemed. After making sure he had everything from his wallet, personal cell phone, and communicator, he smiled to himself and exited his room just in time to hear what sounded like Starfire yell and what sounded like a starbolt fire. He was quick to rush to where it came from, worried someone had infiltrated the tower, only to pause in confusion. The sight before him was odd as he saw an angry Starfire covered in motor oil, a giant slingshot and pulley system in the hallway, a pissed-off Blackfire, a cowering Beast Boy, and Robin, Barbara, and Kara, who were all trying to keep Blackfire from murdering Beast Boy. All the while Raven watched disinterested besides a laughing Cyborg, who was pointing at Beast Boy. What is going on here? Naruto asked as he crouched down to help Starfire up and wipe some more of the oil away from her eyes as it started to drip down close to her eyes again. Beast Boy was being an idiot trying to prank Cyborg and, as always, it went wrong and Starfire was the victim of it, Raven said with a sigh. Then Starfire got upset and Blackfire nearly blasted Beast Boy until the three of them got in the middle to stop her, and then you showed up, she finished, bringing him up to speed as Naruto sighed. Beast Boy, first rule of pranks is to always ensure others aren't accidentally caught in the crossfire, he said with a sigh as Starfire frowned at the cowering Beast Boy. That is why he is a Clorbag Valblerneck. Starfire yelled as Naruto rose an eyebrow. Okay, I'm still learning Tamaranian, so I don't know what that means, but it can't be good, Naruto said before Blackfire, who had moved to her sister's side, nodded. It basically means someone does mean actions, like pranks like this, and laughs at the misfortune of others, Blackfire whispered in his ear as he watched Robin stare down at Beast Boy with Barbara beside him. I can't let this slide, so as punishment you are on call with the rest of us today. I would take someone off, but to keep a balanced team we need to keep it as Robin said, making Beast Boy groan before he pointed to the contraption besides them. Though first you will take this apart before anything, Barbara added as Beast Boy groaned again, but not as he started to under the watch of Kara and Barbara as Raven had walked off a bit ago. Come on Star, let's get you washed up so we can go on our date, Blackfire said with a smile, steering her sister towards her room and trying to cheer her sister up before Starfire nodded. I'll wait for you two downstairs, take your time, Naruto said as the two sisters nodded and walked off. So where are you going to take them, lover boy? Kara asked with a smirk as she teasingly ruffled his hair. I'm planning to take them somewhere to eat first, and then some shopping and maybe a movie if we have time, Naruto said, making both Kara and Barbara let out an impressed whistle. Taking 2 Tamaranians out to eat as a Saiyan yourself will be mighty pricey, Barbara said as Kara nodded. Plus there is a chance they might be kicked out due to how much they eat. Naruto has been banned from a few places in Metropolis because of it, Kara added, making Naruto rub the back of his neck, embarrassed as it was true. We'll be fine. I decided to pick a place with all-you-can-eat pancakes and waffles for breakfast, then maybe a movie, and then some shopping or the other way around, I'm not sure yet. All I know is that it should be a nice day on the town, Naruto said as Barbara nodded, seemingly liking his plans. Well, be sure to enjoy yourselves and be careful. We'll try our best not to need you three, Barbara said before she gave him one last kiss on the cheek before waving him goodbye as he made his way towards the elevator to wait for Blackfire and Starfire to come down. And as they stepped out, after a few minutes of waiting, he was a bit stunned by them and their outfits. Blackfire was wearing an off-shoulder baggy long-sleeve black shirt that was short enough to expose her midriff, if not for the dark purple tank top she wore under it. She also wore a pair of black short shorts and calf-high-heeled boots. She kept back the hair from her face with 2 silver hair clips on either side of her face. Starfire's was a stark contrast to Blackfire's as she wore a sleeveless purple-collared shirt with the first of 2 buttons undone with a grey knee-length pencil skirt and calf-high purple-heeled boots. She wore several thin silver bangle-like bracelets around her wrists and a grey hairband in her straight hair to keep it from getting in her face. So how do we look? Blackfire asked with a smile as she did a twirl for Naruto, as he could only smile as he looked them over. You two look really amazing, like seriously amazing, he said as Blackfire quickly flew over to his side, hugging his arm with a smile. I'm glad since we dressed up for you, Blackfire said with a happy smile before Starfire floated over and hugged the other arm. So where are we going for the date? I am most excited, Starfire added as he chuckled and started to walk out of the tower, them still hugging onto his arms, even as he floated up a bit to cross the ocean to get into the city. Well, since we haven't eaten yet, I was thinking we could grab some breakfast, then maybe shop a bit and possibly catch a movie. How's that sound? He asked before both girls smiled. Sounds really nice since I could use some food for sure, Blackfire said while Starfire nodded as the stomachs of all 3 of them were rumbling a bit, given the mention of a date made both Blackfire and Starfire want to rush off to experience one. How is your flight tech working and helping you fly? Naruto asked as he noticed Blackfire was flying fine since after giving up the Centauri Moon Diamond, her lack of ability to fly had been more noticeable. It's working even better than the old tech I had, Cyborg really did great with it, she said, smiling as she pulled up her sleeves just enough to reveal a metal bangle around each of her wrists with a black gem on it, fitting the theme of her normal outfit. I am most glad for that, sister, as it allows you to come with us today, Starfire said with a warm smile, making Blackfire smile back at her before they had landed down in the city. Yeah, same here, now come on. I'm starving, Blackfire said as she started to pull Naruto along, smiling as he helped direct her to the place he had found for them to go to. It was a bit hard to find considering how much Tamaranians and Saiyans ate, but he found a nice diner for them all. Hello, table for 3. Preferably along the booth seats at the wall so we can sit together, Naruto said after having walked in with Blackfire and Starfire, finally letting go of his arms. Of course, right this way, the waitress said with a smile as she guided them to the padded seats similar to the booth seats that lined the side wall of the restaurant, with tables placed evenly along them and seats on the other side. Also, is the all-you-can-eat pancakes and waffles really all-you-can-eat, or is there a limit? He asked as he let Starfire sit down first so he could be in the middle of her and Blackfire. Oh yes, we pride ourselves on the all-you-can-eat aspect of it. We once had the Flash show up once for some food one morning as part of his morning run, and we kept giving him more and more. It's on days like these that we use everything we have left over and even parts of our new stock. As you can see, people enjoy it, the waitress said as she motioned to the various filled tables throughout the restaurant. Oh good. We'd all 3 like to have that, Blackfire said happily as the waitress smiled. Well, you have the choices of waffles or pancakes, you can go back and forth if you let me know what you want when I go back to get you more. Do you know what you want to drink? She asked as if they knew she could just keep their menus in her hands. I'll take a cola and I think they will as well, Naruto said, looking to Starfire and Blackfire before they nodded with a smile. Okay then, I'll be back with your drinks, and to start out, how do waffles sound? The waitress asked as she pulled out her notepad. Sure, that sounds good place to start, he said before she nodded and walked off to place their orders. Their drinks and food came out to them rather fast, and the 2 Tamaranians were very eager to dig in. Blackfire, as he had noticed, was less experimental with her food compared to Starfire as she stuck to blueberry syrup. Starfire on the other hand had put mustard on hers, a condiment she seemed to really enjoy to the point he's seen her drink it from the bottle. Neither he nor Blackfire judged her though, as it was harmless and she seemed to like it. He lost track of how many pancakes and waffles he had eaten, since Saiyans naturally have large appetites to fuel them and keep up their stamina. Thankfully Saiyans also possessed a much higher metabolism that enabled him to eat this much and burn it off incredibly fast to stay slim and muscular. Blackfire and Starfire were almost as bad as him when it came to how much they had eaten, given they had 9 stomachs and could apparently shift the food along it to clear up space. Starfire was excited as she bounced beside him as he finished paying the bill, giving a large tip to make up for all the work their waitress had to do, along with the amount of food they had eaten. Though their all-you-can-eat meal was very true in how they let them eat all that they wanted to. Are we going to go do the shopping next? Starfire asked as Naruto nodded with a smile. Yes, next is the mall and then the movies. Be calm, Star, I know you're excited, Blackfire said as she hugged her sister to stop her from bouncing anymore, smiling as Starfire was like an energetic puppy at times. Personally, Naruto wasn't one for malls all that much as he mainly went when he was dragged along, but as Starfire excitedly pulled them along he didn't mind coming along. Plus with this being for Blackfire, since she had little to no clothes, it was for a valid reason. Now you mister sit here, Blackfire said as she made him sit down in front of the 2 changing rooms they had booked and we'll be back with outfits. You are going to be gifted with 2 Tamaranian princesses modeling them for you, she added with a smile as Naruto chuckled. Okay, just don't give Star too mature outfits, he said, already figuring Blackfire was going to give her sister maturer revealing outfits to mess with him. Oh, don't worry, I won't. Especially since those are outfits I want to be a surprise to you, so I'll buy those on a girl's night out, she said, winking at him, making him slightly worried considering Starfire was willing to wear a naked apron. Thankfully, as they tried on various outfits for him, Starfire's weren't as bad as he was expecting with Blackfire choosing them. Starfire's outfits fit her innocent side with ones that didn't show much skin but still showed her beauty, and the ones that did showed it even more. Blackfire, being more mature of the 2 sisters and being more confident, showed in her outfits as they showed more skin like her midriff and long legs. It honestly made him a bit worried and somewhat excited what her surprise outfit she had in mind to get for herself and Starfire would be. As he paid, he was immensely thankful that their expenses were paid for by a third party and the fact the store would deliver their order to their mailbox on the island as the city had set up a ferry to deliver them their mail. So what do you have planned next, boyfriend? Blackfire asked as they both took up their place hugging his arms again. Naruto hummed in thought, looking down to check his watch to see it was only noon, meaning they had only been shopping for a few hours. It was too early to go to the movies, he felt, and lunch would only last them so long. Well, let's find something for lunch and we can decide what to do before we head to the movies, Naruto said as the 2 sisters happily nodded and walked with him. Thankfully, as they got to the food court they found a nice little pizza place and considering they haven't done much to burn off their breakfast they didn't eat too much. Blackfire though, as they ate, found her eyes attracted to a nearby arcade by the lights and sounds coming from it. Ooh oh. Let's go there next. I've never been to an arcade yet, she said as the most she had done game-wise as the Gamma station back on the tower. Oh yes. Arcades are most fun. I enjoy the dancing games, Starfire said happily having gone to one before with the others and she enjoyed it a lot. Sure, that's a nice place to kill some time and enjoy ourselves. They have racing games, fighting games, some shooters, and as Star said even some dancing and rhythm games, Naruto said as he finished off his drink, smiling as Blackfire grew more and more interested. As they entered the arcade the 2 sisters were quick to become enthralled in various games within, and once they had the tokens they were quick to dive in. From racing games, claw games, to even some of the rhythm games the 2 girls dragged him to each on to enjoy alongside him for a few hours. Though as the 2 girls played a rhythm dance game, he honestly struggled not to outright stare at the 2 of them. Blackfire's dance moves consisted of a lot of swing, showing off her rear as she swayed it in front of him, occasionally letting her skirt fly up a bit to flash her panties to him while she stuck out her chest with her hands behind her head. She occasionally sent him a smirk as she and Starfire had both noticed him watching them. Starfire's moves were more innocent, more bouncy as she was more happily enjoying the song, although that resulted in him getting to see her breasts bounce each time she did. She swayed her body as well, but with less flirty tones compared to Blackfire, but she still seemed to be trying to flirt a bit. A part of him figured Blackfire coached her a bit about it. Either way, Naruto blushed heavily as he watched the 2 of them dance before the song ended. So, lover boy, did you enjoy the show? Blackfire teased as she floated over to him, wrapping her arms around his neck with a smile. It was something, he stuttered a bit before Blackfire giggled at him and kissed his cheek as Starfire hugged his arm. Did I do the shaking of the butt right, sister? Starfire asked, confirming Naruto's suspicions of Blackfire having coached Starfire before Blackfire nodded at her sister. You did great. It won't be long till you can shake it as great as I can, Blackfire said, smirking as he had the decency to blush. So what is next, Naruto? Starfire asked as she was really enjoying her first date with Naruto alongside her sister. Well, he started to say before both his phone and all 3 of their communicators started to go off. As he looked at his phone he frowned at the familiar number. "You two answer the communicator, I have to take this," Naruto said as he walked a bit from them and answered his phone. "Hello? I didn't know today was the day for the annual thing," Naruto said as the woman on the other end of the line chuckled a bit. "Oh, that hurts that you forgot about little old me," the woman teased as Naruto rolled his eyes a bit. "Not my fault, Leslie. I know it's supposed to be on one set day, but you know my current situation is a hectic one," he said as Leslie scoffed. "I know, hero boy, hence why I called ahead of time instead of just showing up. I mean, you are my probation officer, which means I have to let you know before I wander off," she said with a sigh, as Naruto understood as technically she was a former villain. Leslie Willis, formerly known as Livewire, was one of a few former villains he looked after as their probation officer after having vouched for them and severely offered to help them. Leslie, unlike the other one he looked after, was a special case in terms of being super-powered. Her powers of electricity and being able to travel through anything electrical was dangerous. The fact he had offered her an olive branch and had faith in her though made her more willing to go along and play nice with him. Even her adamant disliking of Superman didn't really stop her from going along with it after she was either offered this situation or being trapped inside a fully rubber prison submerged in water. The reason he vouched for her even after having fought her a few times was that he never really saw her as merciless like some other villains. Her villainy was more akin to troublemaking and she only got bad when his brother was around. Though he didn't understand her incredible dislike for his brother, he left it alone for the most part unless the two were in a room together, which well rare did happen at times. "Naruto, we got to hurry, there are two super-powered mischief makers running rampant on the bridge. They call themselves Thunder and Lightning and are aptly named in terms of powers," Blackfire said, frowning as the person on the phone overheard. Oh, did I just hear an electrical villain? Do you need my help? I am allowed to use my powers to fight if it is to help you, and is that a girl? Oh my goodness. Did you finally hook up with a girl? I have to come now. I'll meet you there," Leslie said in an ecstatic tone before she hung up, making Naruto groan as he hung up. "Hell Robin, we're coming after we change quickly. Shouldn't be more than a few minutes if we go full speed," Naruto said with a sigh before giving both Blackfire and Starfire's hands a soft squeeze. "I'm sorry about it getting interrupted, but I promise to make it up to you both," he said before Blackfire quickly captured his lips in a deep kiss, only to pull back and allow Starfire to give him her own deep kiss. "Don't worry about it, Naruto, things like these can't be helped," Blackfire said while Starfire nodded along. "Yes, we shall finish the date another time. For now our friends need our help," Starfire assured him with a smile as he nodded. "You're right, we should get going," Naruto said before the three of them nodded and once out of them all flew as fast as they could towards Titan's tower. "Will you be safe, Naruto? Isn't the moon still in a dangerous fullness?" Blackfire asked as they flew towards the bridge. "I'll be fine, it's the last day of being remotely dangerous and with it waning from being full, it means my glasses will work again, even with it just becoming night," Naruto said, pointing to the glasses that he wore with ends that curved around his ears to keep them from falling off. As they arrived on the bridge they were quickly met with the scene of their team fighting two unique-looking enemies. The first was rather skinny with yellow skin, his hair sticking straight up as he wore orange and yellow armor of sorts. The other was much bulkier with bluish-gray skin, his hair hidden by a helmet as he wore dark blue and light blue armor. He figured the yellow to be lightning due to the lightning bolts they fired off and the blue one to be thunder due to how he was able to make shockwaves from merely slamming his hands together. "Robin, we're here to help and we might have unintentional backup soon as well," Naruto yelled as he caught their leader as he dangerously rode on a lashing-out support cable. "But timing. Starfire, Blackfire, go help Supergirl against Lightning, Naruto you help with Thunder," Robin instructed as Naruto frowned as he saw Kara struggling against the continuous blasts of lightning. She, like Clark, shared a weakness to lightning and electricity, as if it zapped them long enough it went around their superhuman durability and left them completely vulnerable to it. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he carefully dropped Robin back onto the bridge and flew towards Thunder, ducking under Cyborg who was tossed his way before summoning orbs of Kai in his hands and putting them over one another. "Shotgun blast," he yelled, firing his concussive wide-range Kai blast, which seemingly succeeded in sending Thunder flying back and skidding against the street. "Ah, a new opponent. Most amusing," Thunder bellowed out as he dusted himself off and ran towards him. "Why the hell are you all doing this?" Naruto questioned, working as well as he could to dodge the being's blasts and strikes as he tried to fire Kai blasts at him, only to see they weren't being all too effective against him. "For fun. Battle and destruction are most amusing," Thunder said as Naruto narrowed his eyes and ducked under strike from him before leaping back to create some distance as he held his hands together wrist to wrist, his hands forming a C before an orb of swirling Kai formed between them. The orb itself looked like the Kai inside it was spinning around and as Thunder noticed it, he quickly gathered a blast of his own in his hand. "This isn't a game, you idiot. People's lives are in danger and your destruction is dangerous to them. He yelled before Thunder looked around to see the frightened people around them. Your fun is wrong and you need to stop it or I'll stop you with this. Naruto added as he narrowed his eyes. Asenha. He yelled, firing a good-sized beam of Kai towards Thunder who countered it by firing his own blast at it. Naruto smirked though as he poured more energy into it, causing the spiraling beams of Kai inside the blast that made up the beam to start to make the full beam spin and rotate a bit like a drill. The two beams fought for dominance, pushing back and forth with each other before the drill of the beam grew fast enough to pierce Thunder's and shot through it and collided into Thunder, sending the man crashing full force into and through the semi behind him. Now you and your brothers are going to stop now or else, Naruto said, panting a bit from the amount of energy he put into the attack as well as the degree of control needed for the attack before he was blindsided by a blast of yellow lightning that sent him crashing into a guardrail. You have been bested. Stay down. Lightning yelled, Naruto quickly noticing how both Starfire and Blackfire were down with frizzed out hair from seemingly being blasted. Hey. Only I can shock Monkey Boy. A female voice spoke out before Lightning found himself blasted back by a blue-tinged bolt of lightning. About time you showed up, Naruto groaned out as he looked up to the woman who was standing on a nearby car. The woman was of average height with spiky light blue hair that was curved back a bit with pale white skin, black lipstick-covered lips, and incredibly light blue eyes. Her outfit was rather risque as it was a dark blue, almost black sleeved leotard with a lightning bolt cut out of the front of it that went down to her belly button and showed off some of her mid-C cup chest, finishing off with a pair of mid-thigh high boots. Whoa, dares use lightning against I, Lightning. Lightning yelled as he summoned more lightning in the palms of his hand. The name's Livewire Stringbean and you'd best back off cause I don't think your bite is gonna work on me, Livewire said as she summoned her own electricity in the palms of her hands. We shall see. Lightning yelled, firing a powerful blast at her only, to his and Thunder's surprise, to see it absorb into her and make her electricity in her hands grow. Ooby that is some spicy charge, but like I said. It ain't. Gonna. Work. She yelled as she blasted her attack at them with a smirk. But, to her disappointment, the two boys disappeared into the sky faster than her lightning could travel towards them, which resulted in her blast destroying the semi behind them even more. Okay, I didn't mean to do that, Livewire said with a sheepish frown as she hopped down from the car she stood on and walked over to him, helping him up from where he laid. I know, thanks for the backup, Naruto groaned out as the other titans walked over to reveal the outcome of this first matchup against the two beings. Barbara and Kara were left needing to lean on one another to stand up as they both seemingly had trouble against the duo. Beast Boy was frowning as he tried to tame his zapped hair while trying to get Starfire's attention. Raven was somewhat glaring as her robe had been charred a bit from the fight. Blackfire was glaring angrily with her eyes glowing purple as Starfire held her hand while seemingly ignoring Beast Boy. Cyborg seemed to be typing things on his arm, if anything making sure the zaps hadn't affected him, while Robin dusted himself off as he led them over to him. It seemed that Lightning and Thunder had wiped out most of them before Naruto and the others had arrived, hence why Robin probably called them in. So this is the backup you mentioned. Great, of course it had to be her. Batgirl groaned out as Livewire smirked at her and Supergirl. Oh well, if it isn't Batsy and Super Prep. Didn't know you followed Monkey Boy down here, Livewire said, resting her arm on Naruto's shoulder as she leaned against him with a smirk. While she was reformed, it didn't mean she had to play nice completely. Naruto, why is a villain here? Robin asked as Naruto frowned. She's reformed as technically I'm her probation officer, he said, as well Batgirl and Supergirl knew about his situation with Livewire. They didn't exactly like it, and Robin was always distrusting of villains, even former ones, as they could always revert. Look, I'll explain later, but thanks to her they ran off and we can regroup, recover, and come up with a better strategy against them, especially since we now know what they can do a good deal, Naruto said as Livewire nodded. Yeah, if it weren't for me you'd be spandex-clad bacon, Tweety Bird, Livewire said, making Robin narrow his eyes slightly with a sigh. Whatever. We need to track them down and bring them in. I want you all to split up and search, Robin said as he crossed his arms. Cyborg, go with Batgirl and search the west side, Raven and Blackfire search the east, I'll take downtown with Supergirl, Naruto you go with Livewire I guess and search midtown, and Beast Boy, I want you and Starfire to scan from the skies, Robin said as Beast Boy frowned and rose his hand. Maybe Supergirl could go with me instead, Beast Boy said nervously as Robin shook his head. The two of them like destruction, and there are the most amount of targets downtown due to the cluttered together buildings, so I need Supergirl's eyes to help see through them all if they are there, Robin explained, making Beast Boy groan, as Cyborg walked over and pinched Beast Boy's cheek. Have a nice flight, my little chlorbag, he teased before they split up and they flew off. So, who was the girl I heard on the phone? I gotta look at the girls on your team, and I got to say some of them look real nice, Livewire teased as she rode along the power lines to allow herself to fly beside him while they searched for the two brothers. I'm not telling you that, I don't need to give you ammo to tease me with, he said with an eye roll as she frowned and crossed her arms. Well, you're no fun, guess I'll just have to ask the girls later, then Livewire said as she went fully into the power line, the electricity coating it while moving along it being the only sign of where she was. It had to be an hour or so of searching before the sound of the communicator going off stopped their search. Titans, come in, Robin's voice spoke out over the open channel they had set off before going off. Naruto and Livewire here, any sign of them? Naruto asked as Livewire came out of the power line and sat down on it behind him. Beast Boy and Starfire fought Thunder and Lightning and were nearly able to take them down before a third combatant showed up and blindsided them and wandered off with Thunder and Lightning, Robin explained as Naruto frowned. Are they okay? He worried as Robin nodded and eased his worries. Well, that's good at least, but this third person isn't good, he said, thinking to himself before he looked back to Robin. Do Star and Beast Boy know where they headed off towards? He asked as Robin nodded again. They are headed towards the mountain overlooking the city. I want everyone to meet up at the base of the mountain before we make our way up it to confront them, Robin said as the other Titans agreed and hung up. Well, I can't fly without something electrical nearby, so are you going to be a gentleman and help? Livewire teased as she held her arms out towards him with a pout on her face, making him groan and roll his eyes before he got closer to her and she hopped into his arms, resulting in him princess carrying her. What are we waiting for now? Let's get going, Livewire urged as he groaned and started to fly towards the mountain low enough not to be spotted before he noticed the other Titans nearby and landed, letting Livewire leave his arms. Where are they on the mountain so we can blindside them? Cyborg asked as Supergirl looked up and narrowed her eyes to zoom in on them. They, and the third character, are up there near the side overlooking the city, she said as the city was to their right. They seem to just be blasting targets so we can head up now, and I doubt they'd notice with them being enthralled in their destruction, she said as Robin nodded. We need to go up the side of the mountain and get behind them. Once there we can jump in and stop them before they possibly decide to go down to the city once they get out of targets, Robin said as they all nodded and started up, staying at a pace that everyone could follow. What about the third man? Naruto asked as that character was the unknown factor in things. We'll deal with him when we get up there. For now we need to hurry, Robin said as they continued up before they watched as light shot down from the clouds and Naruto felt a massive spike of energy. Eyes, that isn't good, Naruto said as once at the top they watched as a massive tall and thin beast made of fire rise up from the ground. Burn fire. Burn it all. The third man yelled as the beast roared. Didn't anyone tell you? Play with fire and you're going to get burned. Robin yelled, revealing their presence as the beast turned its eyes towards them and waved its arm across, sending a wave of fire at them that caused them to dive behind rubble around them to dodge. Well, this is great, now we have a giant fire monster to fight and stop it from burning down the city, along with Thunder, Lightning, and the third man who summoned it, Naruto groaned as he cracked his neck. Okay, we need the heavy hitters to help me push fire back, the others try and get some of the trees out of the way. If Thunder and Lightning come back, Livewire can help as their powers are ineffective against her. Robin, since the man looks unarmed except for a staff, you and Batgirl can maybe face off against him, Naruto said before Robin nodded, showing he was okay with the plan. You heard him. Titans, go. Robin said as Naruto, Starfire, Blackfire, and Supergirl shot off towards the beast, the others focused on getting the trees out of the way. Be careful not to get too close as it is made of fire. Attack it from afar. Naruto yelled as he shot several Kai blasts at it, them not having too much effect but enough for him to get its attention. Got it? Blackfire yelled as she and Starfire started launching a barrage of star bolts at it, with Supergirl joining in with her heat vision. Their attacks were keeping it from going forward, though it seemingly had a tough body underneath the fire that coated its skin. As they fought with fire, they were unaware of Thunder turning against Lightning after Beast Boy had affirmed what Naruto had told Thunder the first time they faced off on the bridge. We need to really lay into it, guys, if we are going to take it down. Stay back as this might get dangerous. Naruto warned them, flaring his Kai and boosting into his Super Saiyan state as he started to charge a Rasengan in between his hands. He was certain this would tear through it as due to his Super Saiyan state, his attacks were much stronger, causing the Rasengan in his hand to grow larger than normal. I'm sorry, but I can't allow that, the old man said from a bit away, due to them keeping fire from moving too much, as he seemingly was easily able to defend against Batgirl and Robin. They had to cover their eyes a bit as the man pressed a button on his staff, sending a beam of light into the sky, and Naruto felt a dangerous pulse through the air that froze him up and allowed fire to swat him out of the air. Naruto. Supergirl yelled as she flew down to check on him, only to see his eyes had gone completely white. Oh no, how can this be? Supergirl asked as she knew this look, causing her to look into the sky to see the moon was glowing bright despite the sun rising on the horizon. "Gee, get away." Naruto yelled, his Kai sending a shockwave out that sent Supergirl tumbling back a bit. Titans, we have a dangerous situation," Supergirl said quickly, trying to warn them before Naruto fully transformed as she could see him slowly starting to grow. That man's laser caused the moon to go full, and it got to Naruto. "No matter what happens, do not attack the giant ape you are about to see until I say when. I repeat, do not attack it," she warned as a loud roar was heard, and the Titans close by watched as first started to cover Naruto, and his mouth turned into a snout. They continued to watch as he grew in size, his clothes tearing apart before he grew to a size that was even bigger than fire. "What did you do?" Batgirl yelled as she attacked the man, knocking his staff out of his hand and threw it into the laser he had fired to ensure he couldn't fire it again. "What I came to do, Naruto will serve as a great tool to destroy the city," the man said as Batgirl grabbed her communicator. Titan's new objective. Let Naruto fight fire as it got his attention. "Raven, I want you and Beast Boy to be ready to cover the moon with clouds once fire is fully destroyed, while Livewire you are to help Supergirl take him down once they are covered. Do not sever his tail as, well, it will end the transformation, it will weaken him greatly after it," Batgirl said as she turned her attention back towards the man with a glare, trying not to call out to Naruto in worry as she knew he'd be safe if they could make him expel the Blutz wave energy through combat. Naruto roared, beating his hands against his chest as he squared up against the fire beast in front of him. His mind was hazy, like it was full of static, the only thing he could make out was to destroy with the fire beast in front of him that caught his eye and attention. "Whoa, that's Naruto," Beast Boy said as he was a bit frightened by massive ape in front of them. "This is what happens when he absorbs too much Blutz waves. All Saiyans who have tails can transform into it and it's called his great ape form," Supergirl explained as she, Robin, and Batgirl had seen this form before. "If it's the tail that makes him be able to transform, then why not cut off his tail?" Cyborg asked as Supergirl shook her head. "We can't, the logs his parents left warned him not to lose his tail, plus if he loses his tail, he'll lose a portion of his overall power," Supergirl explained as Livewire appeared beside them. "Sounds Liv, you've dealt with this form before now," Livewire said before Supergirl frowned but nodded. "Once or twice, but it was when Naruto wanted to see if he could control it or when a villain forced him to transform like now. All those times Superman was there to help, so I hope we are enough to handle him," she said, looking to Livewire who nodded to show she was ready when the time came. Naruto roared again as he charged at fire, swatting away its hand as he slammed his fist into its head, causing it to fall back onto the ground. Naruto didn't waste any time as he entwined his hands together, making a bigger fist before he slammed it down onto Fire's chest, which caused it to crack and splinter. Fire roared in pain, trying to thrash from underneath Naruto as it created a fire shockwave that shot him off it and skidding along the ground. Naruto didn't stay down long as he stood back up and roared loudly, his mouth glowing gold before he closed it, letting light peeking out from behind his teeth until he opened it again and fired a beam of Kai that crashed into Fire. As the beam fired, he continued to roar, making the beam grow before it grew from only being big enough to cover Fire's chest to finally covering it entirely from head to toe. Once the beam died down, the others were in shock to see the aftermath. Not only was Fire completely destroyed, but the mountain behind the one they were on had also been destroyed partially, with a large circular portion cut out from the top of it. With his opponent finished off, Naruto roared in anger and pounded his chest with his fists, looking around for whatever he could fight next before a fist collided with his snout and sent him flying back from the force of it. "Raven, Beast Boy. Get started but don't draw his attention," Supergirl yelled as she and Livewire jumped in to get his attention before it was focused on someone or something else. "Naruto, I'm sorry for this, but I have to," Supergirl said, clenching her fists as she hated to hurt him as she watched Naruto get shot with a powerful bolt of electricity to his stomach, making him roar in pain and fall down again. The others watched as Raven used her magic to move the clouds, while Beast Boy used various bird forms to help, while Supergirl and Livewire kept Naruto pinned down, evading his attacks as best they could. As Supergirl crashed into the ground, leaving a trench behind after he swatted her down, she frowned as Naruto was struck by two blasts of lightning and another larger blast of energy, revealing lightning and thunder were choosing to help them. "We wish to rectify our mistakes, let us help," Thunder said as he offered a hand to Supergirl, who nodded and accepted it. "Thanks, you can help by making Naruto burn through his energy. Tire him out and keep him from running off. If anything, you can do a lot of help by making a lot of clouds to cover the moon," Supergirl said as the two brothers looked at each other. "We can do both, but it'll take a bit. It'll be our strongest attack, but it's the least we can do," Lightning said before Supergirl nodded. "Do it, but do not kill him as he is our friend," Starfire yelled out as the two brothers nodded. "Don't worry, we intend to help and wouldn't dare endanger him." "We will be back," Thunder said before he and Lightning shot up into the sky in a bolt of lightning that shot up from the ground. "Guys, keep your distance even more. We don't know what they are planning, but it's bound to be intense." Blackfire warned the others as everyone moved back a good distance while keeping on their attack, Supergirl changing to throwing trees at him as her heat vision might harm him too much. As they kept his attention, they were quick to notice the clouds darkening around them, covering the moon fully as thunder rumbled and lightning arsed through the clouds. It all happened in a flash, barely any warning, but for the most part they were all able to turn away in time as bolt after bolt of lightning shot down around Naruto. The bolt struck him several times, bringing him to his knees before the last and biggest bolt struck him directly, knocking him out as he fell to his knees. Supergirl flew straight towards him as she saw him start to shrink, his snout reverting to normal and his hair receding. "It's okay, Naruto, I got you," Supergirl said as she looked to see the other Titans save for Robin and Batgirl rush to them. "Here, he can borrow this," Raven said, offering her robe to cover Naruto up as he started to return fully back to normal. "I expected better, is that the best you two can do?" The old man asked as he held Robin up against a tree by the collar of his shirt and held the tip of his staff against Batgirl, keeping her from moving from the threat of being burned by it. "No, but you want to see my best?" Livewire asked as she shot the old man with an electrical blast, sending him skidding away and allowing Batgirl and Robin to be freed. "How's Naruto? Is he okay?" Batgirl asked as Livewire kept her eye on the old man with charged hands. "Yeah, thunder and lightning helped bring him down. He's passed out with Supergirl down there," Livewire said as they turned their attention back to the man to see that his face had cracked to reveal an orange metal mask underneath his. Slade. Robin growled out as well. This was their first time meeting. He knew the man by his mask, as that was all he had been able to find out about the man that sent Gizmo, Jinx, and Mammoth after them. Slade merely stared at them, smirking a bit before he disappeared in a cloud of purple smoke. Robin narrowed his eyes, staying behind as Batgirl hurried off to the others, frowning as she saw Naruto passed out, covered only by Raven's robe, as his head rested on Supergirl's lap. "It's okay, friend Barbara, Naruto is alright," Starfire said as she sat beside Naruto, holding his hand in hers as Blackfire sat beside her. "That man, he planned for this. He wanted to lure Naruto out, and he used thunder and lightning for it," Robin said as he tossed the destroyed machine that had caused Naruto to transform on the ground near Cyborg. "But why? How did he know that Naruto could do this?" Supergirl asked as it wasn't a well-known fact by any means. "He must have gotten the information from someone somehow. He isn't the first to force Naruto to transform, but given only one other man has done it, it narrows the search. I'll report it to Superman and have him take care of it," Robin said with a frown as Naruto stirred a bit before opening his eyes. "Oh good, none of you look hurt," Naruto said, his voice hoarse as Livewire chuckled. "Yeah, but you put up one hell of a fight there," Livewire said, making him chuckle and cough a bit, sitting up slowly with the help of Starfire and Batgirl, while he made sure to keep himself covered with Raven's robe. "Yeah, normally it takes Superman and then some to bring me down. Oh, and thanks for the robe, Raven," he said, thankful he wasn't without cover. "Don't mention it, I'm just glad you're okay," Raven said, her respect for Naruto having risen more due to him having to always be cautious to keep himself from transforming every full moon. "I am glad you are okay," Thunder said as he and Lightning had come back down from the clouds. "And we are most sorry for our actions," before he added, bowing his head before he patted his brother on the back who joined in and bowed. "I am also sorry," Lightning said as Naruto smiled at the two brothers and nodded at them. "As long as you have admitted what you did was wrong, I think we can forgive as you were unaware of it all," Naruto said as, once the robe was secured around his waist, he let the others help him stand up. As they headed back to the tower, Blackfire and Starfire helping him fly over, he could feel himself starting to tire again. "Don't worry, Naruto, we're almost there and we'll let you sleep it off," Supergirl said as she flew beside them, carrying Cyborg, while Raven carried Robin and Batgirl across on a magic platform with Livewire on it, as well as she had declared she wasn't going to go off until she was sure Naruto was okay. "Thanks and I'm sorry again for everything. I was blindsided by Slade's beam making the moon full," he said, apologizing again only to get a kiss on the cheek from Starfire. "Do not apologize, Naruto. It was not on purpose and we are just happy you are safe," Starfire said as she nuzzled her cheek against his. "I'm just glad you're safe and okay," Naruto, Blackfire said, giving his hand a squeeze as he could see the worry in her eyes. "Yeah man, and I'll work extra hard to create something that can shield you from Blood's waves even better than your glasses. Give me a bit and I assure you I'll be able to protect you from a full moon," Cyborg said with a smile as they landed at Titan Tower. "Look, just focus on resting. I'm gonna stick around until you get better as I don't want to bother you with doing the parole thing right away and to be here in case your kitty league needs some help while you're out of commission," Livewire said, though Naruto was able to translate what she really meant as her being worried for him and wanting to make sure he was okay before she left. Okay, just don't cause any trouble, Naruto grunted, his legs sore as they touched the ground before they made their way to his room. Even getting changed into a pair of pajama pants was hard for him with how sore his body was. I can't believe I allowed myself to be blindsided like that. I can't believe I transformed and almost hurt everyone, he thought, berating himself before a hand on his shoulder brought him out of his head. Don't beat yourself up about it so much, Barbara said softly as she sat on his bed beside him, Starfire and Blackfire standing in front of him, all with consoling smiles on his face. Yes, Naruto, we're just relieved you're safe, Blackfire said as she took his hands in hers and squeezed them softly before placing a kiss on them. I was most worried when you transformed, but I am so happy you are safe, Starfire said before she hugged him softly. No one here blames you, Naruto. Everyone is happy you are safe. For now, just lay down and rest, Barbara said as she gently guided him to lay down, before leaning down to give him a soft kiss on the cheek, which Starfire and Blackfire copied as well. As Naruto watched them leave, his eyelids unable to stay open any longer, he couldn't help but smile a bit at the friends and girlfriends he had around him. It helped reaffirm that he had made the right choice in joining the Titans. Chapter end. Chapter 4. It had been about a week or so since the thunder and lightning incident, and things had gotten somewhat back to normal in terms of no Slade. Livewire had also left a few days after he recovered, but not before teasing him absolutely mercilessly for his 3 girlfriends, after Starfire had innocently told her about them. All in all, while the prospect of her dropping by more did worry him, it also showed she somewhat cared for him. Right now though, he was more annoyed as he, Batgirl, Cyborg, Beast Boy and Raven were busy fighting a new villain called Dr. Light as he tried to rob an armored truck. The villain part wasn't the annoying aspect of it all, but the fact the man felt the need to spout sayings referring to his power suit or Light in general. Split up, try and draw his attention, so maybe someone else can take him down, Batgirl said as Naruto and the other Titans nodded and split up, avoiding a blast of light from Dr. Light. Their pathetic skills can't outshine the brilliance of Dr. Light. Dr. Light yelled as he fired another blast at them, but the blast allowed a dust cover, allowing Batgirl to dash at him and throw several batarangs at him from on top of the armored car that was on its side. Past, Dr. Light said as he was barely able to blast them out of the sky before they hit him, but I doubt you'll enjoy moving at the speed of light. He yelled, opening his chest blast to fire a bigger beam at Batgirl, sending her flying up towards the rooftop behind her. Batgirl! Naruto yelled as he quickly caught her, watching as Beast Boy was taken down with several flashbangs. Setting Batgirl down gently, due to her still being disoriented, he quickly flew towards Dr. Light. Hey Bulbhead. Flash this. Naruto yelled, firing a Kai blast at him from behind, sending Dr. Light skidding, before the man threw out a device that landed under him. The device activated quickly, trapping him in a bubble of light, while Dr. Light seemingly fused Cyborg together with the van while he was trying to escape. If nobody minds, I'll be taking the gold, Dr. Light said as he walked towards the rest of the van. I mind, Raven growled out with a glare. Azarath Metrians in awe. Raven tried to chant before she was hit with a blast and sent skidding back. Bit of advice. Find shorter magic words, Dr. Light said as he charged up his hands again, Raven turning around with a glare while her eyes glowed as they always did when she used her magic. Dr. Light was unfazed as Raven threw a nearby motorcycle at him as he blasted it and blasted her again, sending her flying back. Naruto grit his teeth as he tried to get out, but the device was shielded so he couldn't blast it as his normal ones had no effect and anything bigger had the danger of filling up his prison and hurting him. He didn't know why, but he felt something terrible was about to happen and he had to stop it. Don't come any closer, Raven whispered out as she looked away from Light. What's wrong? Afraid of the light? He taunted before Raven quickly turned around and growled at Dr. Light, her eyes replaced with 4 red glowing eyes as her cloak grew and tendrils of shadows shot out from under it. Dr. Light quickly decided to do the smart thing and run as the tendrils shot after him before they grabbed him and started to pull him towards Raven. Stop. Why you win? I surrender. Dr. Light yelled as he started getting dragged under Raven's cloak. What's the matter? Afraid of the dark? Raven growled out, her voice sounding darker as Dr. Light was fully pulled under. Naruto, deciding it was enough, burst into Super Saiyan and was thankful that the shockwave from it was enough to free him before he flew towards Raven. Raven. Stop. He yelled out, wrapping his arms around her as his voice and touch were enough to snap her out of it. As she reverted to normal, her eyes widened and her cloak receded, showing Dr. Light in the fetal position as his suit had turned from black to dull gray and was partially destroyed and what he thought to be chewed on given certain parts were crumpled a bit. He quickly let go of Raven, setting her down as she seemed to work on collecting herself. The others worked on consoling the utterly frightened Dr. Light as he muttered to himself and rocked a bit. Dude, Raven. What did you do? Beast Boy asked with a frown as Raven turned and growled at him, her eyes turning red again, making Beast Boy scream before Raven stomped off into a nearby alley. What's her deal? Beast Boy asked as Naruto just shook his head with a sigh. Beast Boy, you should have just not said anything until she was more collected or just not said anything at all, Naruto said with a frown as he walked after Raven. Raven, we'll see you at the tower, right? He asked, more worried about her running off than anything. Why yes, I just need to be alone, she said as he nodded, completely understanding as after something like this, she needed to collect herself. Do what you have to do and see you in the morning. He said, a bit unsure as she looked away for a second until she turned back and nodded ever so slightly at him before continuing into the alley. Will she be okay? Batgirl asked as she had already called the cops and paramedics for Dr. Light. We'll see, right now I think she just needs her space, he said as he knew he'd have to tell Robin about it and explain things. He knew Raven had some issues of her own, and while he wasn't going to push her for any kind of answers, he hoped she was handling them well. Next morning. Naruto groaned as he walked into the living room, still exhausted from the late night fight with Dr. Light. He didn't get to see or check on Raven when they eventually got back to the tower, as Raven's door was coated in her magic, a telltale sign of her not wanting to be bothered in the slightest. So what's for breakfast? Naruto asked as he sat down next to Barbara before Blackfire quickly swooped in for the spot next to him, Kara sitting next to her, as Starfire was on the other side of Barbara. Don't worry, I got you all, Beast Boy said with a smile as he dished up the food. Cyborg was quick to scarf down his food before he coughed it up with a disgusted look on his face. That's not eggs, that's that tofu stuff. He yelled as he tried to wash it down with milk only to spit that out as well. That's not even real milk. He yelled again as Naruto groaned. Beast Boy, we support your vegetarian lifestyle, but seriously not everyone likes tofu and soy, Naruto said as he hovered out of his seat to get some cereal as he too didn't really enjoy tofu. As he walked in the kitchen he heard the door slide open to see Raven walking in and towards the kettle of tea that was steaming on the counter. Hey Raven, want breakfast? Robin asked as Starfire was testing out the taste of the tofu eggs. It's good wakey wakey tofu eggs and bacey Beast Boy sang out as Naruto handed Raven the kettle of tea which she nodded in thanks at him for. Herbal tea, she said, as Naruto knew she didn't like tofu at all and after last night tea was probably for the best. Come on, one little taste. You could use a little food after the way you cook, Dr. Light, Beast Boy said, making Raven tremble in rage before she turned around with red eyes. No. She yelled as her magic made the tofu eggs on the pan explode into the air before she walked out of the living room, most likely back to her room, as Naruto could only look at Beast Boy with an exhausted look. Beast Boy, what the hell was that? Did you seriously just say that? Naruto groaned out, not believing the green-skinned boy actually said that after the way she reacted to him last night. Maybe you should go apologize, Robin suggested as he walked over to Beast Boy with a bit of a frown. Me? I'm not the one who turned breakfast into a battlefield. Beast Boy defended with a frown as Cyborg walked by with the extra plates. Yeah, but with the weirdness that went down last night, you should know better not to go messing with her, Cyborg said, while Blackfire nodded along as she floated over to Naruto. You have the worst habit of poking at stuff that shouldn't be poked at, Beast Boy, Kara pointed out, making a tick mark grow more on his forehead from it all before she followed Naruto's example and got some cereal. I was trying to be nice. No matter how hard I try, she still treats me like tofu eggs. He said as Naruto rolled his eyes as he sat on the counter and enjoyed his cereal. Maybe because you keep trying to push your way to try and get her to open up. Not everyone is so open about things. Hell, I kept my grade 8 form secret because I was afraid how you'd all react and if you'd see me as a danger, Naruto pointed out with a frown as everyone had their secrets and the right to keep them secret. Whatever do you know, she hasn't once laughed at any of my jokes. He asked as Cyborg chuckled. At least she listens to you, I just kind of tune you out, he said, making Naruto chuckle a bit. Raven is complicated. There is much about her we are not meant to understand, Starfire pointed out as Blackfire nodded along at her sister's point. How are we supposed to deal with her? How can we even trust her? I mean, she's our friend, Naruto said, interrupting Beast Boy as he was a bit tired of this talk about Raven and how Beast Boy felt almost entitled to her secrets. Yeah, what more do we need to know? Robin said as Barbara nodded. People in our profession are all about secrets, Beast Boy. We tell people the most we want and whatever we hide isn't because we don't trust those around us, but because of personal reasons. Hell, people in general always keep secrets and they have a right to, just as Raven does. I mean, are you willing to come clean about everything about you since you want Raven to? Barbara asked as the grimace on Beast Boy's face answered her question. Naruto continued enjoying his cereal as Beast Boy walked off. Seriously, he needs to understand the concept of privacy, Naruto grumbled as Blackfire nodded as she hung off him and floated beside him. I know, I'm trying to help with it, Robin said as Beast Boy had to understand to let people open up as they grew to trust them on their own. Well, I'm going to make sure he doesn't do anything more stupid. We don't need him angering Raven even more, Naruto said, giving Starfire and Blackfire a kiss on their cheek, hopping over to the sink to do the same to Barbara before Cyborg stopped him from heading off. I'll come with you as I want to make sure he apologizes, at least Cyborg said as Naruto nodded and waited for Cyborg to finish up before they headed off to Raven's room to see Beast Boy standing in front of it. They watched as he lightly knocked on her door, not hard enough to even make a sound before shrugging his shoulders. Well, no one's home, Beast Boy said, trying to walk away only to run into Cyborg and rub his forehead from it. Might want to knock a little louder, Cyborg said, directing Beast Boy back to the door before he knocked, making 3 loud knocks before the 3 of them watched the door fall down. Now we both have to apologize, Beast Boy said as Naruto rolled his eyes. Raven. Sorry about your door. Raven. Cyborg said, trying to see if she was inside before Beast Boy smiled a bit. Dude, she's not here. Come on, Beast Boy said as he walked in her room. What do you think you're doing, Beast Boy? Naruto asked with narrowed eyes as if he was seriously about to go through her room. He was going to have to teach him privacy by throwing him out of her room. What? This is our big chance to get to know more about her, Beast Boy said before he felt a hand on his shoulder to see Naruto angrily glaring at him, but before he could throw him he quickly changed to a mouse and jumped further into her room. Come on, Naruto, let me look. I need to know more about her, like this beauty mirror. Who knew Raven spent time sprucing? Beast Boy asked himself as he looked into it. Is that it? Beast Boy said with a gasp as Naruto walked towards him with a glare, only to widen his eyes as a claw made out of dark energy shot out of the mirror and grabbed Beast Boy. God damn it, Beast Boy. I swear I am going to kick your ass for this. Naruto yelled as he grabbed onto him, Cyborg then in turn grabbing onto him before all 3 of them were sucked into the mirror. Nevermore. Naruto grit his teeth as he spun around and went down a spinning vortex tunnel of dark energy before he, Beast Boy, and Cyborg landed on solid earth once they were spat out of it. As he pushed himself up he couldn't help but widen his eyes a bit as he found himself on a floating piece of earth in what looked like space with dark red stars around them with other floating islands around them. Oh man, Cyborg said from the view and from the fact the portal that dropped them in here had disappeared. I knew we shouldn't have gone in her room, Beast Boy said in a tone like he was scolding them before Naruto had enough and blasted him with a bowl of kai, sending him falling onto his back. Just shut up, Beast Boy. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you messing with her stuff. Naruto yelled, having enough of Beast Boy's attitude for this morning before he turned to Cyborg who was busy tapping away on his arm. Please tell me you know where we are, he said in a hopeful tone as Cyborg shook his head. You're asking the wrong robot, as my scanners say we are still in Titan's tower, Cyborg said with a frown as Beast Boy sat back up. Right, so how do we get back? Beast Boy asked as Cyborg pointed ahead of them. As we start walking, Cyborg suggested as Beast Boy looked like he was about to argue until he noticed a pathway forming on the rock they were stranded on, allowing them to walk forward down it. If sending us to Weirdsville is Raven's idea of a joke, then I am so not laughing, Beast Boy said before Naruto and Cyborg both groaned. She didn't send us here. You're the one who went snooping in her room despite Naruto telling you not to and popping zits in her magic mirror, Cyborg pointed out as Beast Boy frowned. Who booby traps a mirror? Beast Boy asked as Naruto rolled his eyes. Raven is all about magic. Do you expect things not to have some kind of trap on them that activates when others beside her picks them up? Naruto asked with a sigh as Beast Boy faltered a bit. Hell, this mirror is obviously a portal to somewhere, so either this is somewhere important to her or somewhere she goes to so she can train, he added as he expected the latter as despite her look and vibe, he didn't feel like this fit the idea of Raven's home. Turn back, a soft voice spoke out, several others joining in with it as the 3 of them stopped only to see the voices were coming from baby red-eyed crows. Sweet. Bet you they can tell us how to get home, Beast Boy said as he walked towards the perch they sat on. How do you know they aren't a threat? Cyborg asked, trying to act as Beast Boy's common sense as Beast Boy rolled his eyes. Hello. Remember me? Beast Boy. If they were dangerous I'd know, he said as Naruto buried his face in his palm. Hey little guys, my buddies and I were just, he started to say before he noticed they were gone only to jump back as he found them right in front of him, continuing to say turn back over and over again. Naruto groaned as the crows suddenly turned vicious, gaining fangs on their beaks and an extra set of red eyes before he pulled Beast Boy back. Word of advice. You turn into animals, you can't talk to them or sense their intentions, he said with a glare as he threw him back toward Cyborg. Look little guys, we aren't here on purpose, we just want to get back home, Naruto said, trying to reason with them before having to blast them with Kai blasts as some flew at him, with the rest going after Cyborg and Beast Boy. God damn it. Naruto yelled as he flew backwards, continuing to fire blasts of Kai before he watched Cyborg, while riding Beast Boy as a llama, destroy the ground they stood on and almost fall down. He barely made it in time to catch them, planting his feet as best as he could to not be pulled down with them due to their weight, before a female's chuckle made him stop. "What's up?" the voice asked as Naruto watched Cyborg look over from where he was before he fell over and onto the other side of the platform, while Naruto felt blood rush to his head. "You coming too?" the voice asked as a pink-cloaked Raven looked over the edge at him. "Our Raven?" Naruto asked as he flew onto the other side, a bit surprised to see her in pink, smiling and laughing at Cyborg and Beast Boy. Why are you wearing pink?" Beast Boy stammered before finally asking her a question as Raven looked at Beast Boy like the answer was obvious. "Because it's my favorite color," she said before she walked up to Naruto with a smile. "It's nice to finally meet you," she added as she hugged his arm, making him blush a bit as he felt her bust press against his arm. "Look, I'd love to talk fashion, but I don't suppose you know of a way out?" Cyborg asked as Raven nodded. "Yeah, through the forbidden door. It is the only way out, but you really don't want to go there, not right now," she said with a bit of a frown before looking up to Naruto. "How about you stay here for a bit and we can talk," she purred out, making Naruto raise an eyebrow at before Beast Boy walked up to her. "Yes, we do want to go there, like right now," he said as Raven frowned but shrugged her shoulders. "Fine, don't say I didn't warn you," she said as she started to pull Naruto along towards the stone archway ahead of them. As they passed through they found themselves somewhere entirely different as it was full of vibrant colors, an orange sky, and trees with pink leaves. "Whoa, okay, this place is definitely odd," Naruto muttered to himself. "Yeah, it looks like the place air fresheners are born," Beast Boy said, making Raven laugh with a smile. "Nice one," she said, making Beast Boy widen his eyes and stop in his tracks. "Wait, you're laughing at one of my jokes?" he asked as Raven nodded. "Yeah, I always thought you were funny, but hey. Looks aren't everything," she joked with a laugh as she rushed ahead, pulling Naruto along with her, while Cyborg and Beast Boy stayed back a bit. "Look, I can't stay here too long as I have to go ahead, but I just want you to know this," she said, stopping as she put her hands on his cheeks and pulled him in for a kiss which entirely surprised him and made him freeze up. Plus the fact she was using her tongue didn't help. "I want you to know I really like you, Naruto. You are always there for me and understand me more than you think. I don't mind this harem thing as long as I can be with you," she said as she pulled away with a smile. "I'll see you later when you all catch up with me," she said, giving him one last kiss on the cheek before she rushed ahead just as the other two showed up. "Yo, where is Raven?" Cyborg asked only to see Naruto frozen in place, making him wave his hand in front him, which finally snapped him out of it. "Wah?" Naruto asked as Beast Boy frowned. "We asked where Raven went, she's out," guide Beast Boy said as Naruto shrugged his shoulders, still a bit out of it. "She had to go on ahead, I'm sure we'll find her if we keep going to the next archway," Naruto said, Raven's confession still replaying in his head as it had honestly floored him. "So she ditched us?" Beast Boy asked with a glare before Naruto and Cyborg sighed at him. "She didn't ditch us, she had to go on ahead," Cyborg said as he noticed something up with Naruto, but chose not to say anything as he figured he was surprised by Raven hugging onto his arm like that. Beast Boy continued to grumble before they passed the next archway, the scenery changing again back to how it looked when they first arrived. "Wait, so are we back to where we started?" Cyborg asked as Naruto shook his head. "No, just a portion of it that is in the same area rather than the last," Naruto said before another Raven popped up, shocking them as Naruto noticed that this one was wearing a grey robe. "Where were you?" "Shopping for robes," Beast Boy yelled, making Raven cower and even start to cry before Naruto slapped him upside the head and walked to her side only for Raven to fly at him and cling to his chest, burying her face in his chest. He could only frown as he pet her head, consoling her as Cyborg decided to move past Beast Boy's blunder. "Hey, that's the forbidden door, right, Raven?" he asked as he could see a large door in the distance past another archway as she nodded, looking at him from the side as her face was still half buried in Naruto's chest. "Then come on, yo. We're almost whoa." Cyborg said before he was surprised by a wall rising up right in front of him, blocking their path and multiple others rose up alongside them all. Beast Boy frowned as he quickly turned into a bird, trying to fly above only to get zapped, causing him to fall back down, and Cyborg's attempts to blast through the walls didn't work either. It's a maze you can't get out, you have to go through," Raven said nervously as she still clung to his chest before he gently pet her head. "Do you know the way through?" he asked, Raven pausing a bit before she nodded. "Yeah, but by the end you won't like me anymore, he already doesn't like me," she said while looking towards Beast Boy at the end, making Naruto frown as he made her look, but at him again gently. "That's not true, Raven, I promise nothing at the end could make me not like you," he said, making her smile ever so slightly before she pulled away and gently grabbed his hand to guide him and the others through the maze. The maze, as Raven guided them, was very confusing and Naruto was sure if they didn't have Raven, they wouldn't have possibly been able to make it through. He though was a bit confused about her as she was timid where the last was bubbly, not to mention the change of robe and wetness. As they reached a dead end, after what felt like possibly an hour, they were surprised as Raven touched the wall and it opened up, revealing two single-armed four-eyed hooded statues. It's the end B but be careful she tried to warn them as Cyborg and Beast Boy rushed ahead only for the statues to move and combine together, making a two-armed statue that in turn, gained an extra set of arms and two swords in the lower set. I told you that you wouldn't like me when you got here Raven said, looking back at Naruto who merely smiled at her and shook his head. This doesn't make me like you any less Raven, I promise he said before she let go of his hand and smiled softly before running off. Well you too, I don't know about you, but I'm ready, Naruto said as he flared his kai and cracked his neck before flying at the statue. Let's see how it likes this. Shotgun blast. Naruto yelled as he blasted it in the face and sent it staggering back a bit from the force of the blast. He didn't let up as he continued to blast it with kai blasts, noticing how Cyborg's sonic cannon had little effect on it before it quickly caught Beast Boy in its hand. Yo 8 eyes. A voice yelled out before Raven, clad in a green cloak leapt out of nowhere, kicking it in its face before landing next to Naruto. "Sup there handsome, wanna fight a monster with me?" Raven asked, winking at him as it finally clicked where he was and decided after he finished this thing off he was going to kick Beast Boy's ass. "Sure thing, you go close and I'll cover you from afar," Naruto said as Raven nodded with a smirk as she rushed forward, weaving through the statue's sword slices. The swords didn't last long before they were destroyed by two kai cannons, and Raven ran her fingers down the statue from head to toe, causing it to seemingly be cut in half. Woo-ha! High fives. Come on. Raven cheered, throwing back her hood before she walked over to Naruto and pulled him in by the collar of his shirt for another kiss, using her tongue much more vigorously before she smiled up at him as they parted. Damn, never knew a kiss after a win felt so good she purred out before she stepped back as Cyborg and Beast Boy caught back up with them. Whoa. What is going on? First you nuke breakfast, then finally laugh at my jokes, then you're all weepy and clingy to Naruto, and now you're a marine. Make up your mind. Who are you? Beast Boy yelled as the gray and pink-robed ravens appeared alongside the green-robed one all with their hoods down. I'm Raven they all said in unison as it confirmed Naruto's suspicions. Happy, timid, and brave right? Naruto asked them as they nodded. Great, we aren't just anywhere Beast Boy, that mirror you touched took us into Raven's mind. Naruto yelled, making Beast Boy flinch a bit. And I want you out Raven said as she landed in front of the others, only this one was the real her by the color of her cloak as she stared at all of them and the others faded away. That mirror is for meditation for a portal into my mind. Not a toy. She yelled at Beast Boy, making him cower even more. My bad he whispered as Naruto buried his face in his hand before stepping up to Raven. Just so you know I tried to stop him, but he leapt further in when I tried to stop him, then he got dragged in here. I am so sorry for this accidental invasion of privacy, and I want you to know it was in no way intentional, Naruto said as he felt terrible being in here without her permission, as with someone as closely guarded as Raven was this was probably a dangerous level of betrayal. I know since I know you'd never do this intentionally, Raven said softly as she looked up at him. But you all need to go now she added as the birds behind them shot up and started to caw. Hold up, what's going on? Cyborg asked as it felt like something was about to happen. Last night something got loose. Something bad she said as Beast Boy walked up to her. Oh no you don't. I've had it with this mystery girl routine. I want to know exactly what we are talking about here. Beast Boy yelled before Naruto had enough and chopped his neck, knocking him out and tossing him to Cyborg just as a roar sounded out behind them. Naruto watched as the birds melded together before forming a massive red four-eyed being with white hair. Hatred shall rule. It roared as Raven frowned. I have issues with my father she muttered, just loud enough for him to hear as he felt like that was an understatement if that was supposed to be the personification of her father in her mind. Cyborg. Get Beast Boy out of here. Naruto yelled as he pulled Raven out of the way of an eye blast from the massive being. Got it? Cyborg yelled as he started to run towards the exit before the giant noticed him and tried to fire again. Azrath Metrian Zinthos. Raven chanted as she and Naruto flew to intercept the blast, and she created a dome shield around them which shuddered under the force of the prolonged blast. Get out of my mind now. Raven groaned out as she focused on shielding them. And leave you alone with that. Not gonna happen Cyborg said before Naruto frowned and held his hand against Cyborg's chest, blasting him strong enough to shoot him into the exit, but not actually hurt them. Look I'm not going to leave you here, I shoved them out and I think you know why he said as Raven frowned. My happiness told you I know but nothing he interrupted her softly as she looked over at him to see him frowning at her. Look Raven, I know you keep your emotions close, and I'm not going to push to know if what happiness told me was your real feelings, but I'm not going to just stand by and watch you struggle. You've confided in me a bit when you come to me asking to meditate, and you seemingly like me according to your hidden emotions, so please let me help, he said as he transformed into his Super Saiyan form. If I lose, you'll be trapped here forever, she groaned out as he shrugged his shoulders. I'm willing to risk that to help you, Raven, he said as a powerful blast from hatred destroyed the barrier. Now let's take this thing down, Naruto said as he formed a Rasenha in his hands and fired it, the power behind it, allowing it to send it flying back a bit before they flew after it. So have you ever defeated your hatred before? He asked as Raven fired blasts at it and he did the same. No, that's why I meditate, to seal it away, but Dr. Light's annoying attitude gave it a window to break out from, she said, as they quickly evaded several blasts from hatred. And now it wants control of you? He asked before he summoned a Rasenha in his hands, quickly using it to counter a blast from hatred. Yeah, it's been trying all my life, she said as she used her magic, quickly throwing a boulder at it which broke its concentration to allow Naruto's blast to break through and collide with hatred's chest and send him tumbling back. We need to find some way to take it down, like a weakness of it, or maybe a way to seal it away again, he said as they moved down, using the dust cloud as cover to regroup a bit. But they didn't get too far before hatred fired a blast from within the dust cloud. The blast ended up hitting her directly and zapping her as hatred prolonged it until it stopped after Naruto's blast interrupted it. He acted fast, chasing after her and catching her before flying off to hide somewhere. Raven, come on, one little blast can't end you, he said softly as she groaned and opened her eyes. See, this is why I wanted you to leave, I don't want to lose you if I lose here, she said as he helped her sit up. You won't lose me, what about those other versions of you? They can help possibly, can't they? He asked as she frowned and shook her head. None of them possess the power needed to finish him off. If we can't finish it off then it'll win, she said as she frowned and looked down at the ground and clenched her hands, upset she would lose here and bring him down with her. If not alone then what about together, he said as he gently took her hands in his, smiling softly at her as he looked in her eyes. They are you so you have their strength. You keep your emotions locked up, but what about opening up to them and letting them flow to fight your hatred? He asked as he knew she had it in her as every other part of her had the potential to be stronger than her hatred if she let it be. I guess I can try, but I have no idea how long this might take. I don't feel right leaving you alone to fight it, she said before he smiled at her and squeezed her hands again. Don't worry about me, Raven, I promise I can hold my ground until you finish preparing, he said as she nodded before he stood up and watched as she opened a portal under her, taking her somewhere else to prepare. Okay then, hatred, let's see how you handle the power I gained from the thrashing I got during my grade 8 fight, Naruto said as he flared his aura even more before his muscles started to grow in size rather a lot, making him much more bulky as he was thankful his clothes were moderately stretchy enough to handle the bulk up. His hair had also started to spike outwards even more, with his aura more flailing outwards, with the occasional bolt of electricity bursting from him. If I'm going to fight something this big then 3rd grade will be better for raw power. I'll be more durable, so my lack of speed won't be too dangerous, as he thought, as after he had recovered from his injuries after his grade 8 usage his Zenkai had resulted in the increase of his power quite sizably. He had found 2 additional side transformations of his Super Saiyan state, which were 2nd grade and 3rd grade. 2nd grade boosted power and speed, while 3rd grade greatly boosted his power at the sacrifice of his speed, but right now speed wasn't needed. Hey, hatred. Eat this. He said, charging his Kai in his hands before hatred turned around to face him. Blast barrage. Naruto yelled as he launched his attack, the countless blasts colliding with hatred as the tall monster roared in pain and fell down onto one knee as the blasts continued. Naruto roared, focusing on keeping his attack going before he couldn't pour any more blasts out. But he continued on with attacking, summoning a Rasenha before he fired it directly at hatred's face, sending the tall being falling back with a powerful shake of the earth. Damn, I'm really not used to using this form all that much. It's more exhausting than normal Super Saiyan, he thought as honestly he had never used it in combat yet. He frowned as he saw hatred shoot back up to his feet with a roar. Hatred shall rule. You cannot stop me. It yelled as it slammed its fist down on him, only for him to find it had been stopped by another hand. Don't touch him, a giant white cloaked raven said, her voice booming before she blasted hatred back with a blast of magic. Glad I was able to last long enough to help, Naruto said, reverting back to normal as Raven nodded at him. Give it hell for us, he added, making her smirk as she walked towards hatred. You are going back where you belong. Raven yelled as she shot out magic from her hands that wrapped around and bound hatred's torso and hands. Never. Hatred yelled as it struggled and broke free from its bindings, and Raven narrowed her eyes before energy started to burst from her eyes and she summoned a massive blast to fire at him. Hatred reacted quickly, summoning his own blast to match hers, resulting in the blasts colliding and fighting for dominance. Come on Raven. You can do it. I know you can. Naruto cheered her on, watching as she gave one last push, sending all of her remaining energy into it and sending hers and Hatred's blasts back at it. Naruto watched as a red-cloaked Raven was left behind after the beam tore through Hatred before it disappeared into red energy that flowed back into Raven, resulting in her returning to her normal self. He quickly flew at her to catch her as she fell, exhausted from the display of power, as he held her in his arms. You did amazing Raven, I knew you could beat it, he said as he floated down and gently set her down. Thanks for your help, I couldn't have done it without you, she said as she held her hand up to his cheek before blushing and scooting away. What's wrong Raven? He asked. She looked like she was afraid. I'm sorry, it's just I can't do this, not with how I am right now, Raven said, clenching her fists as she couldn't meet his eyes. The way I am makes it where I can't express emotions or let mine slip out without the risk of hurting you or losing control. Being around you so much is already difficult because of how you make my emotions stir up due to how I've been trying to keep my feelings for you hidden. You make me worried when you are in danger, you make me happy when we meditate together, and you are even able to console me in your own way when I am secretly upset. Making me feel all that is dangerous given how I am. I do like how you show me utter respect in terms of respecting my privacy, though, she said, as some tears slowly trailed down her cheeks as right now after having fused with her emotions, she was allowed a grace period of no consequences of showing more emotion. I do love you Naruto and it scares me. I want to be with you as you make me feel safe and calm, but I don't want to bring ruin to you. I'm sorry, but I can't bring myself to be with you, she choked out as Naruto gently took her hands, uncurling her fists as he held them softly in his. Raven, don't ever feel like you need to apologize. I know your feelings and if you don't feel comfortable then I'm not going to force you into anything, he said with a comforting smile that brought slight tears to her eyes. But hey, if there is ever a time where you feel safe to be with me, know that I will accept you as I care for you, just as I do the others, he said, making her eyes widen a bit. Just promise we can still be friends and hang out like we always have, he added as she nodded but frowned a bit. But why do you like me? I'm not strong like them, she said as she remembered how Saiyans are attracted to strong women. But you are Raven. Not all strength has to be physical, you are strong in the sense you are always composed and can control yourself. Plus it's not just strength I'm attracted to, but also looks and personality, he said with a smile, making Raven blush a bit and put back up her hood to hide it, only to let him hold her hand some more. Thank you Naruto, it really means a lot, she said before she leaned forward and kissed him, as if her emotions had then she needed to as well. Naruto gently cupped her cheek as he kissed her back. The kiss was sweet and a bit sad, but he savored in it before she pulled away. We should get going, Raven said as she stood up and looked towards the exit. You're right, I've invaded your privacy too long, he said, smiling as she gently took his hand in hers, as if to enjoy what little bit she could for now. Real world. As they returned to her room, she was thankful to see neither Beast Boy nor Cyborg were inside. Again, I'm sorry for invading your privacy and having to enter your room to try and stop Beast Boy, he said as she shook her head. It's fine Naruto, but before we leave I want to show you something, she said as she walked over to her bed and pointed at her headboard, showing a black raven stuffed animal sitting beside some candles. Aw, you kept it and put it there? He said, smiling as he was happy she actually liked it. Of course, as even a girl like me enjoys a present from the boy she likes, Raven said before she coughed into her fist and gently took her hand from his, although the look on her face showed she didn't necessarily want to. Well, I'm still glad you like it, and as much as being in your room is nice, I think we should leave to not let the others worry, Naruto said as Raven nodded before they headed towards the door to see Starfire and the others waiting outside for them. Oh, that is where you have been, Blackfire said as she let go of her sister, who had been seemingly trying to knock on Raven's door. Does this mean little Raven here might join the group? Blackfire teased as Naruto rolled his eyes and smiled as Blackfire hugged his arm. Don't be like that, I just grew worried and checked on Raven. She invited me in to talk a bit, time just went by faster than I thought it did, he said, smiling at Raven who nodded with a soft smile of her own. Yeah, and I want to say you won't have to worry about me losing control like that anymore, Raven said as Robin nodded with a smile. Don't worry, none of us were worried. We knew you had it under control, he said as Starfire happily clapped her hands. Oh, joyous. To celebrate, how about we try the breakfast again and prepare another feast? Starfire said excitedly as Naruto looked to Raven who nodded to show she was okay with it. Well, a bit late for breakfast, we can try brunch, he said as Starfire excitedly put her hands on Raven's shoulders and led her back to the living room with the others following them until it was just him, Cyborg, and Beast Boy left. Sorry about blasting you out, but don't be, Cyborg interrupted as Naruto looked at him. We were all intruders in her mind, Beast Boy most of all, and you didn't want us to forcefully find stuff out about her. I also knew you'd be able to help her more than we would have been able to, Cyborg said as he kept Beast Boy beside him. I also know Raven trusts you and is okay around you, so she most likely was okay with you being there. I also talked to Beast Boy here to explain why he was knocked out, he added before Beast Boy nodded. Look, I'm sorry I tried to force my way to learn about her. It's just she's so moody and secretive, Beast Boy said with a groan. And you have to respect she has reasons for being like that, Beast Boy. Look, I'm not mad or anything, I just don't like people forcing their way into others' privacy. Also, you shouldn't be apologizing to me but Raven instead and do it when she's alone as to not draw attention, Naruto said as he walked off to join the others. As he rejoined the others he couldn't help but smile as he saw Raven next to Blackfire and Barbara while Kara was working on breakfast. A small smile from Raven was all he needed to see to know that all was okay with her, and if that ever changed she knew she could come to him. Chapter end. What if Naruto x Raven Jump City Teen Titans Harem end here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.